Hello! Hello everyone, I'm MVL and welcome to an MVL Gaming Collection Stream Live. Today we are taking a look at my Game Boy collection. This will include my Game Boy Color and my Game Boy Advance collection as well. We're going to be taking a look at boxed games, at unboxed games, at a couple of attachments as well as the consoles. This is going to be a lot of fun. I've got a bunch of games to show you, maybe some games you haven't seen before, maybe some games that I'm missing and you might want to tell me about. But otherwise, we're going to have a lot of fun. I've got a lot of cool stuff to display to you, so without further ado, let's just get started. I'm going to try and show you the games from in the order of Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance, and I'm going to try and have the boxed games in the correct order alphabetically as we go as well, rather than show you boxed and then unboxed separately. They are in different places in my game room, so it might be a little awkward, I might slip up down the line, but you know, that is the nature of the beast. And I also want to show you my hardware as well, so we're going to take a look at that. But I'm very excited to share this with you, and this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I will not be showing, however, DS and 3DS. Maybe that might be down the line another video, who knows. But for now, hey Tex, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the stream. Let's get started. And before we begin, I will say that I have these shelves like this. These are how I currently organize my Game Boy loose cartridges, so that was pretty easy. But the other shelves, similar to the ones behind me where I have my boxed games, were a little bit more unwieldy to get across, hence why I might slip up going between boxed and unboxed games. Hey Wojak, how you doing, buddy? Welcome, you are just in time, my friend. Show us my hardware. Alright, let me get this thing out right here from below. Hey, there we go, it's the little one. It's the little one, you know, I like it, they say size, doesn't matter. This is the Game Boy Advance SP. Now I remember actually trading up from the Game Boy Color, all the way to the Game Boy Advance, and then eventually the SP. That's why this is my go-to device. This is not the 101 model with the brighter screen, but this is a great one as well. Hey Zombie JLT1, how you doing, my friend? And welcome Mike the Hype, hope you're doing well, my friend. I'm doing good, you're off work today? That's excellent, my friend. Mind blown, Tex, exactly. I do like this one. This is too small for a lot of people's hands, but it fits my hands well. What does that say? But it is the right size for me. I'm going to skim past this one though, because we're going to get to the games fairly quickly. Another thing that I like about this is there is an attachment on the Game Boy Advance and the SP. I have the attachment cables to play with this as the controller for the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy player on the Nintendo GameCube, there we go, which I will be showing as well. But yeah, let's move past this on and get to the... Actually, I said I wasn't going to talk about the DS, but let's quickly talk about the original DS, even though it is quite bulky. This is the original DS right here. This could take Game Boy Advance games, but nothing else, whereas the Game Boy Advance SP could take Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance, so that's why it's really good. That's what they said, Wojak, exactly. How you doing, Zombie, as well, my friend? Welcome to the stream. So, a couple of other things I want to show, actually. I actually have the box for the Game Boy Advance SP. This was my original box. It is slightly beat up, but I still have that, so I just thought I'd show that here as well. And then another cool addition, this is for the Super Nintendo, the SNES. This is the Super Game Boy. And this is really good. This is an excellent addition to any collection. And Super Game Boy games have certain enhancements. Hey Trevor, how you doing, my friend? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. There are certain games have Super Game Boy enhancements that are only playable on the Super Game Boy on the Super Nintendo. So one of them is Space Invaders. On the cartridge it has a 16-bit version that you can only play on the Super Game Boy. And Donkey Kong has a particular color palette for this as well. Other games like Samus Returns have a color palette for the Game Boy Color, but there's enhancements to certain games that are only playable on this. Interesting box design for the SP Zombie. Yeah, it's a little plain, but this one, colors on this pop really brightly on the Game Boy one. A cube, indeed, Zombie, indeed. I was showing the hardware, Tex. Indeed I was. I got my hardware out. It was a little piece of hardware, but it packs a punch. I actually do love the box on this. It's got a bunch of the greatest games on the side here, showing that you can play on this. Play it on your TV. And by the way, guys, my preference is to play on the TV. So, but I actually mostly use, I do use this as well, but I mostly use the GameCube Game Boy player, which I will show you right now. Hey, Seacrest, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the stream. You have a soft spot for Game Boys? You have lots of them. I do wanna get more of the handhelds. To be fair, that is something I do want to get. Hardware is a timeless and appreciated. Hey, thank you, Trevor. Appreciate it. This is my before we move on to the games, this is my current way of playing most of my Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advanced games on the Nintendo GameCube Game Boy player. Now, you might often find the Game Boy player itself, but you need the startup disc. You need the startup disc to play it. So this is a disc in here. And awesome that I have this box, actually. I got this before it was super expensive. So I've got the disc in there. You need the disc to play the... by the way, this is the PAL packaging. It might be different depending on where else you are. But there's the Game Boy player. This is my preferred way to play these games. That's my favorite way of playing them. That's why I mostly concentrate on the GameCube and doing that. But there you go. I also have a really good controller from old school, actually, which is like a Super Nintendo style controller, which is really cool. Slayer helped me out with that. And yeah, but there you go. There's the GameCube Game Boy player. This is a really good way to play the games. You get to play them on your TV in full screen, even though it's got some crazy borders on there. But yeah, this is my preferred way to play them. And I often default back to this. Resident Evil on the Gamecom mic. We are not talking about that today. We're not talking about that game. No. But there is a good portable Game Boy in the Game Boy. Sorry, Resident Evil on the Game Boy Color. We will be talking about. Hey, Retro Gaming Star, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Yes, but the GameCube Game Boy player is my preferred way to play the games. But speaking of the games, let's get started. We're going to start with the Game Boy. And I have most of the loose Game Boy in here, but I'll try and get the box games in the correct order as well. And we're going to start off with the A's, and we have. You do recommend getting an SP101, so you guys. It's definitely something I want to grab, but they're definitely harder to find as well because they're really good with a brighter screen. We're going to start off with Alleyway on the Game Boy. Okay, I'm gonna just take it as a note that my webcam does not want to focus onto these cartridges, so I'll just hold them here so you get the gist. Alleyway, this is a fantastic game. It's a bit like your Arkanoid or your Breakout style thing. It's actually, unless it wants to focus on it, which it probably doesn't. No, it doesn't. You know, I could go on to the settings of my webcam and force it to focus onto that, but then I'll be going back and forth. So I just hold these at a distance. And then, and that's how I do it. Because I've got a lot of games to show. I can't be fiddling with the webcam as it disagrees with me this entire time. But anyway, Alleyway on the Game Boy is a really fun game. Plays a lot like Breakout. It's really cool. Very cheap game to pick up as well. So if you want to grab some Game Boy games for the original Game Boy, unboxed of course on the cartridge, pretty cheap game to grab. And it's really fun as well. And very cool, very cool. Alright. And I actually have made no plans of where to put stuff after I show it, so I'm just going to pile stuff up around me, but we'll see how it goes. We've got the Arcade Classics 1 here, which is in one of these Game Boy cases. Oh, that it wants to focus on. So we'll see how maybe a fun little game for you guys to play amongst yourselves is what cartridges does my webcam want to zoom into and what ones does it not want to zoom into? Focus on, I should say. This is in one of these protective cases. So these protective cases, these are the official protective cases. And they're very cool for the cartridges. I would like to have these for all of my Game Boy games. But they are actually, individually, these go for like a little bit by themselves. So if you can find these little cases really cheap, they are definitely worth grabbing as well to protect your cases, the contacts on the cartridges. This is Arcade Classics 1. This includes Asteroids and Missile Command. Hey Daniel, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the stream. I don't suppose I need to tell you about Asteroids and Missile Command. Great games. First played them on the Atari 2600. Try putting my hand in front of the camera. Yeah, I've seen some people do that where it's like focus on my hand sort of thing. But I don't want to mess around with the camera too much. I'll just let it focus on whatever it wants to focus on, Mike, for sure. If honestly, like, what would be good is if I got a second webcam set up and had that at a different focus. That might be the best way to go, to be honest. Then I could cut to that. But I was not not prepared for that. We're just going to roll with the punches here. You're good, Daniel? It's good to hear, my friend. Glad you're doing well. Yeah, I actually really love asteroids. My favorite version of asteroids is Mindstorm on the Vectrex, but that's a different story. We're talking about Game Boy games right now. Anyway, that's that. Next up, we have another arcade classics. We've skipped 2 and 3, and we've moved up to 4. This is Defender and Joust. And great games. I'm a big fan of Defender on the Game Boy. And this is really cool as well. Joust, it's a pretty good version on this as well. Great games. You know, anything I can play on the go on the Game Boy is really cool on my Game Boy SP. Game Boy SP, Advanced SP actually fits in your pocket really easily, unlike some other handhelds. So this is definitely cool to grab and play on the go. Defender is a really good game. Horizontal scroller, so a lot of fun and absolute classics. It deserves that name. So Arcade Classics 4 on the Game Boy. Next up we have a really good one. We've got Bomberman GB, and you can probably see that the this cartridge is incredibly worn on the front here. Incredibly worn, my friends. You got a huge Uncharted 4 box behind me. Yeah, that's the that is Wojak. That's the console for the PlayStation 4. It's actually the Uncharted model of the PlayStation 4, which is pretty cool. It's a nice design, actually. I enjoy that. But yeah, actually, speaking of big box, one of these Game Boy games I show you has a massive box, but we'll get into that. It's not all about the size of the box, is it? Modded Game Boy Pocket to work, you take it, Seacrest, that's awesome, man. Yeah, modded, you can do a lot with mods, actually, to things like the Game Gear and the Game Boy to get brighter screens as well. You're trying to build a Game Boy collection, Retro Gaming Star? Hey, that's awesome, my friend. Yeah, it's a fun collection to build for, actually, especially loose cartridges. Loose cartridges is really cheap and they're really easy to grab. Tetris is an all-time classic, Daniel. Tetris, one of my favourite games of all time as well. Asteroids is up there, Berserk is up there, but Tetris as well. Fantastic game. I will grab any version of Tetris, actually, whenever I find it, if it's cheap. I have so many different versions of Tetris. Bomberman Game Boy. Now, if memory serves me right, I think this is actually a platformer, rather than your typical Bomberman game, but I could be thinking of like Bomberman Adventure or something. Some of these games I have a better memory of than others, but yeah, Bomberman Game Boy, it's a little worn down, but it doesn't affect it playing either, so it's pretty cool. A Game Boy game that you used to play you totally forgot the name of? Oh Mike, that happens to me all the time, my friend. That happens to me all the time. I have such a bad memory. Alright, next up we have Bobble. And Bobble for the Game Boy. Bobble is a fantastic game. This is essentially, and this theme will repeat itself a lot, this is essentially the NES version, but on the Game Boy. And it's just that home console experience on the go, from the big screen to the small screen, except if, like me, you're playing it on the Game Boy player, then you're also playing it on the big screen as well. But this is a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun. Bobble is a fantastic game. It's even fun to say Bobble. Try saying that a lot of times fast. But it's a lot of fun. It's a classic game. And it's a fantastic puzzle game. If you haven't checked out Bobble, this one is it's more towards like the £10 price range, but unboxed, it's not that bad. And I think it is cheaper to get it than the NES counterpart, but I could be wrong there. But it's certainly a good version to grab because essentially, other than the screen size, it's about the same. So the Game Boy games, they do suffer a bit from the screen size being smaller, sometimes little bits are cut off, but for games like this, perfectly fine. For stuff like the Mario games, when the conversions come from like the Super Nintendo to the Game Boy Advance, sometimes you lose a little bit of screen size. You lose the visibility on the left and right of the screen. But this one, good game for sure. You got Tetris 3D for the PlayStation 4, Daniel. 3D, whoa, back off, man. That's some crazy technology. You know what? I would love to have a Virtual Boy. Speaking of 3D, then I think I could also include that in the Game Boy, or would you perhaps? But Virtual Boy is actually a small collection, but expensive. Game Boy is cheap. Game Boy is cheap. Alright, next up, we have another great game. This is Shoplifter 2 on the Game Boy. So this is, if memory serves me correctly, this is exclusive to the Game Boy. It is a sequel to Shoplifter, and it plays very much in the same way. And it's a very fun game as well. If you played Shoplifter and enjoyed it on something like the Sega Master System or what have you, Shoplifter 2 plays very much the same way. It is horizontal scrolling, but you can move back and forth as you pick up people and take them back to safety whilst avoiding and taking out enemies as you do so. Fantastic game. fantastic game. And it is a lot of fun, and I can't remember how much I got this for, but it was very cheap. So Choplifter 2 is a good one, but it's definitely worth getting. Fortified Zone, I have that, Mike. We'll get to that actually pretty soon, because that's original Game Boy. That's a great game as well. And I think there's a sequel to it, but I think the sequel was only released in certain regions, and I don't have that one. But that's a very cool game as well, we will get to. Yeah, Choplifter 2, great game. Another game I recommend. A lot of these games, I mean, these are games that I have, so naturally I will recommend them because they're games that I enjoy. And so I barely have like anything that I don't like in my game collection, with the exception of Resident Evil 2 on the Tiger Gamecom handheld, as aforementioned. But most of the games I will probably recommend unless they're like stupendously expensive. Because I like them, that's why I picked them up. There you go, Choplifter 2 on the Game Boy. I'm going to move past the games, as I mentioned previously, fairly fast because I've got a lot of games to show. So, I think we're going to end up showing one of the boxed games very soon, but before we get to that, here is Donkey Kong on the Game Boy. Now, like I mentioned, this game has enhancements on the Super Nintendo Game Boy player. And I think that is the best way to play this particular cartridge. But it is an awesome game regardless of how you put it. And this game expands upon the arcade game with new stages and new abilities that Mario can do, or the formerly known as Jumper Man, as you go after Donkey Kong to save Paulina. This is a really good game. I don't think it's very expensive at all. And the Game Boy version certainly has enhancements that the original and even the NES version doesn't have. And with the Game Boy player on the Super Nintendo, you get awesome full color palette and an exclusive border to it as well. And it looks great. So definitely a game worth checking out, Donkey Kong. Even though it says the name Donkey Kong, it is completely different from the other versions of Donkey Kong. It is far enhanced and improved upon from the original. And the original is, of course, absolutely fantastic game, but this game is really good and really worth checking out as well. So I can't recommend this one enough, especially as I think it's really cheap as well, for the most part, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Donkey Kong on the Game Boy has that enhancements for the Super Game Boy, and it is definitely worth picking up. So Donkey Kong on the Game Boy. I think we're going to show our first boxed game now. And this is Donkey Kong Land 3. Now, obviously, I'm missing some games in the series here. I do want to pick them up, but this is what I have. And I will say, so there's a couple of awkward things about Game Boy boxes that I want to quickly talk about before we move on. So Game Boy boxes, at least in the PAL region, there's no set rule of where the name. So the front is always the same. You have the Game Boy on the side, and the title is in the artwork somewhere. But the sides are where it gets really awkward. So there's no set rule for if it should have the title on the top or if it should be on any of the sides. And I don't know if you guys have this in different regions, but we do over here. There's no like easy way to display Game Boy games. As far as I'm aware, somebody help me out here. So unless you just have them front facing, which takes up a lot of space, there's not a lot of like, you can't have it on the side because there's no title on the game box here. You could have them on the top, but some of the games don't have the title on the top. So what do? It gets to be really awkward. But there you go. These cardboard boxes, a lot of the time they get thrown out. A lot of the time they're quite fragile and frail. A lot of my games I have in-box protectors to protect them, obviously, and they stack up a lot better that way as well. What I thought about doing actually is using the box protectors and then putting a sticker on the box protector with the title on the side so that it's easier to arrange them that way. But yeah, Donkey Kong Land 3. I believe there was a Game Boy Color version of this as well, but this is one I have. I won't open these up, and but I will show them. So there you go. And when it comes to the ones in box protectors, I will just show the front because they're quite reflective and the camera will not want to focus on them. The Game Boy in the commercial slogan, Trevor, I do not recall it off the top of my head, but they did have some catchy slogans there. The ones I remember are the like Sega ones. Sega does what Nintendo don't, and Nintendo now you're playing with power and things like that. But the Game Boy one eludes me. But yeah, oh actually, speaking of the Game Boy, actually, just before we move on, one more thing. I've said this story before, Now you're playing with power, portable power. That sounds about right, Trevor. Before we move on, actually, I want to talk about what my original Game Boy, the grey Game Boy. I actually used to play that at a friend's house. I used to visit a girl, and she had the Game Boy. I used to visit her like every day and hang out and play on her Game Boy. Eventually, she sold me that Game Boy, and I stopped seeing her. This was a while ago, but yeah, I was a jerk. I wanted the Game Boy. I wanted the Game Boy. That was what I was interested in. But that's just a funny story. I ended up trading those in down the line. I don't often trade stuff in. I regret it. I would love to still have the grey Game Boy. But yeah, there you go. So the Donkey Kong Land. I didn't speak of this game much. It's a fantastic game. Also on the Super Nintendo, the series as well. And great music as well. And I believe there are color versions of these. Some games on the Game Boy have Game Boy Color versions as well. Hey, Blue Hedgehog, welcome, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you dropping by. So yeah, Donkey Kong Land 3. I think there's a color version as well. It might have a yellow cartridge. I think that one will have a grey cartridge. Alright. Next up. So I need to be mindful of my boxed games as well and get them in the right order. But I think we are good for a while on the loose cartridges. How are you doing, Blue Hedgehog, as well, my friend? Appreciate you checking out the stream. Next up, we have Double Dragon on the Game Boy. So this, again, is like very similar to the NES version of this game. And it is a great game. And, you know, being an NES game, it does do well on the two button combination. Some games, like fighting games, don't. But side-scrolling beat-em-ups are fine with the Game Boy controls. I do prefer the NES version because it has, you know, full color. But this is still a good version to play, Double Dragon. And actually, unless I put it elsewhere, I should have a different region version of this game as well. Here it is, actually. So this is the PAL version of Double Dragon. And I picked up as well. You doing good, Hedgehog? That's good to hear, my friend. I also picked up this. This is the Japanese version. And the cover artwork is so much better. So much better. So here's the Japanese cover art. And it looks so good. The camera probably doesn't want to focus on it, but there you go. There's a look at those. The Japanese artwork is like by and far superior to the even though the camera doesn't want to show it, the Japanese artwork here is really good. So I have the Japanese version as well as the European version, which is pretty cool. Otherwise, they are, you know, pretty much identical. But very cool, very cool. Glad to have that for the Japanese Game Boy. The Game Boy is region free, so it will pretty much play anything as well. But anyway, there's Double Dragon, EVA version for the Game Boy. Cool game, definitely worth checking out. But I would lean towards the NES version. Next up, we have a fantastic puzzle game, also on the NES, and it is Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario is a fantastic puzzle game. This cartridge has a little bit of weathering on the top here. You often get that from when the cartridges are, you know, inserted or what have you. They often like snag the label. One thing to keep out in mind, by the way, when it comes to labels, there's no chance of you seeing it here, especially with the webcam playing up. But there will be like an imprint of like two numbers or a letter and a number, two digits, I should say. There will be an imprint on the label, and that's how you can tell if things are legitimate cartridges. It's one of the ways to tell, I should say. And that's something I keep an eye out as well. There's no chance of seeing it through the webcam, but that's something to keep in mind of. But yeah, Dr. Mario, fantastic puzzle game. You throw pills down into a bottle and connect them. Very Tetris-like, if you will. Dr. Mario keeps you busy, Daniel. It's a fantastic game. It's really fun as well. And you know what? This might be one instance where I would definitely pick the Game Boy version over the NES version, because of the portability. Playing this game on the go is one of those things that is very enjoyable, and it's one of those pick up and play games that you can play for just a short amount of time, so it's definitely one of those games that you would want to get on the Game Boy. And this game is super cheap as well, so it's worth checking out. Alright, next up we have another NES game on the Game Boy, and it is Ducktales. Ducktales on the Game Boy. My webcam does not want to focus on it, but this is a game that you should focus on because it is fantastic. And based off the animated series, of course. And it is really fun. It looks on this that my label is peeling a little bit, but it's a great game. It's in better condition than my NES cartridge, because my NES cartridge is completely ripped to the label. This is a great game. Great to have it on the Game Boy. Similar deal with the other Game Boy conversions. You get, you know, different colorization and a different screen size, but still worthy to have on the Game Boy because you can play it on the go. So that's worth doing. Ducktales is a fantastic game. It is an absolute classic, so it's definitely one worth checking out. Ducktales on the Game Boy. Alright, next up we have Dyna Blaster. And Dyna Blaster is actually a Bomberman game. I think this is also known as Atomic Kids overseas, or Atomic Kid. But this is a fantastic game. You love watching the cartoon, Daniel and Trevor. Yeah, it's a great cartoon for sure. This is a fantastic game. It is essentially a Bomberman game. Maybe you might not have heard about this particular localization, but it is essentially Bomberman on the Game Boy. It's really fun, really great to play, and it's good whatever system you play it on, but the Game Boy version is really good as well. So yeah, check that out, Dyna Blaster on the Game Boy. And I think next up we have a really good one. This is the Game Boy Gallery 5-in-1. I don't know why I'm holding them up. I should hold them up further away because the webcam is not having any of it. What's my favorite cartoon, Rory? That's a tough one, actually. My favorite cartoon? Boy, I mean, I guess I'm going to say Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Z. I guess that's more of an anime, though. But I think that's what comes to mind immediately when I think about it. How you doing, by the way, Rory? Appreciate you dropping by, my friend. The Game Boy Gallery. This is essentially a collection of 5 Game & Watch games. The characters have been replaced by generic-looking characters, but the games are still really good. Let me see if I remember by looking at this. You have the Builder game, you have Vermin on this, you have Manhole on this. You have a bunch of great games on this collection, and this cartridge is really cheap. It might be European exclusive. Some of the Game Boy Gallery ones were. You go up on Sailor Moon, Blue Hedgehog. Lots of great ones to be sure to check out. There's so many good animated series out there. It's like games. So many pass you by as well. But yeah, the Game Boy Gallery is a really good one. I have a feeling that one of these Game Boy Gallery collections is European exclusive. I know the numbering system is different from overseas for us here in the UK, so it might get confusing with these Game Boy Gallery games, but they're a collection of Game & Watch games. So they're really good. Worth checking out. Alright. Next up we have Ghostbusters II for the it just doesn't want to focus. Alright, from now on we are just going to hold them at this level because you can see it anyway. Alright, I was a fool to think my webcam would want to zoom into these cartridges. So if you're playing the which ones does it zoom into, which ones doesn't it zoom into game, it's over. We're just going to hold them at this length because it's getting a bit silly. Yeah, maybe I will think about a dual webcam setup, but that seems a little bit excessive. We'll just go with this for now. I'll hold it at a distance. Ghostbusters 2. This is a great game. It is top down, and it is much better than the NES version of Ghostbusters 1, obviously. And yeah, this game is really good. You can zap up the ghosts. It's like what you expected the first Ghostbusters game to be, and it's so much better than that. You go around environments, pick up ghosts, catch them in traps, and then move on. This is a really good game, Ghostbusters 2. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, really cool. Ghostbusters 2 on the Game Boy. It's definitely one I recommend. I don't think it's that expensive either. Fighting Evil by the Moonlight. Winning Love the Daylight. Is that... oh, that's the lyrics for Sailor Moon, Trevor. Ah, there you go. Definitely sounded like song lyrics. Alright. Okay. My cartridges are all falling down in the holster I've got. Next up, we have Golf. It's just golf. This is essentially the NES golf game. Mario character included here. Very good game and very fun. This game is super cheap, and if you like the golf games, they are pretty fun for a little bit on the go. And it's definitely I prefer the Nintendo golf games than, let's say, the golf simulator games, because these ones are often like a lot more of a pick up and play gameplay style. And later down the line, these golf games on the handhelds became more RPG style. So the handheld games, like on the Game Boy Advance, became RPG, and then the more sort of multiplayer themed ones would be on the consoles. But yeah, Golf, pretty cool game, very cheap. I must have paid like £1 for that or something. Another great one, also on the NES, we have, I did it again, I held it up. We have Gremlins 2. Awesome game, which is on the NES. And the first Gremlins game was on the Atari, and that game was rough around the edges. But Gremlins 2 on the NES is a really good game, and it's awesome to have a version of that on the Game Boy for pick up and play. You get to play as Gizmo in this game, avoiding the other Gremlins and making your way through the levels. It is top down. It is very fun. Don't ask why you remember that, Trevor. Man, my memory is really bad myself. Just like I put the cartridge up to the screen, forgetting to remember that I'm going to show them from a distance so that it focuses on them. Like I mentioned, guys, the webcam kind of does whatever it wants with autofocus on when you have stuff moving towards and moving back from the screen. I could manually control that, but seeing as we are going to be showing so many different cartridges, it's going to be easier if I just hold them back and you get a look at it from the back. But yeah, there you go, Gremlins 2. On the Game Boy. Really cool game, really enjoyable, and definitely another one worth picking up. I'm going to say that a lot because, like I mentioned previously, along with the webcam thing, these are all games in my collection. They're all games that I have to play, so definitely I will recommend picking all of them up. But there you go, Gremlins 2 on the Game Boy. Next up, we have Hal Wrestling. And that's in this section of the alphabet because it's Hal Wrestling. This is a pretty good wrestling game, actually. I think I got this one really cheap, but it is like more of the arcade feel than the wrestling sim games you get of the modern era. So it's actually pretty fun. And if my memory serves me correctly, but I could be thinking of an NES game, I think you get like quite amusing dialogue in this game as well. You had a nightmare where Gremlins invaded your house, Trevor? Man, Gremlins were scary. Physical props are like so much more scary, I find, than digital things. Because digital, in a sense of movies, digital props, they always tend to be like, they seem unreal. Whereas props, because they're tactile and they're real, they all seem a lot more scary. Yeah, Hal Wrestling's pretty cool. Pretty cool game for the Game Boy. I think it's a cheap one. Alright. We have Humans. Humans is a, it wanted to focus on that apparently, so I guess I can hold that up to the screen. Yeah, Humans is a puzzle game. It's a lot like the game Lemmings. If you've ever played Lemmings, Humans is quite a lot like that, where you have to take your humans and you have to solve puzzles in order to get them to the end of the stage without them dropping off. So it's a pretty cool game. It's a pretty unique game. It might take you a minute to figure out how to control this game if, like myself, you don't have the manual. But it is a cool game, so it is pretty cool. And I got this one very cheap as well. I don't remember where I got it, but I think I got it very cheap. Alright. We spoke about this game earlier, and here it is. Fortified Zone on the Game Boy. And it does want to zoom into that one, apparently. So we will open that up so you can see it. Fortified Zone on the Game Boy is a fantastic top-down game, and it is really cool, and it is definitely one worth checking out. This is a really cool game. It might be like more expensive than some of the more common games, but it's really good. And it is a top-down adventure. You get 2 different characters with different abilities. There is a sequel to this, but I don't think the sequel was released in all regions. But so keep that in mind. But Fortified Zone is definitely more of a hidden gem. I think is more well known these days, as evident that we spoke about it earlier. But it is definitely a game worth checking out. Fortified Zone on the Game Boy, top-down action game. Okay, and next up we have James Bond 007. Now, I believe this game is unique to the Game Boy. It's not like a downgraded version of any NES game. This one is pretty unique to this. It's an adventure game, actually, which is very cool. You can speak to characters, and you can battle as well in various ways. I think there's a bunch of gameplay variation in this game, and it's very cool. Great game, like the hype. Yeah, Fortified Zone is awesome for sure. This game is pretty cool as well. I think this game is very common as well. In fact, I saw this game in a charity shop recently for a couple of pounds. So this game is an easy one to pick up as well. James Bond 007. Unless my memory fails me, I think this is exclusive to the Game Boy. So it's a pretty cool one. Game Boy exclusive. Alright, where are we looking? Here. Okay. We have a boxed game coming up. I will get that one ready. You have all the classic Bond movies on Blu-ray, Mike. That's awesome, my friend. I remember they released like whole DVD sets, but then they were massive actually if you wanted to have all of them. So I actually do prefer buying the collections because then they're much smaller and they don't take up so much space on the shelf. We've got an absolute classic here, and it is Kirbys Dreamland for the Game Boy. This is definitely one you want to have in your collection. This is, unless my memory fails me, a Game Boy exclusive, the start of the series. It might be on the NES as well. Some of the games were, but Kirbys Dreamland is great. It actually fetches a fair bit on the Game Boy, but I might be thinking of the complete in box price. But this is definitely like one of the more sought after games on the Game Boy. It is like more expensive, but it's definitely worth it. Kirbys Dreamland is a fantastic platformer. Never played Kirbys Dreamland Blue Hedgehog? It's really good. If you like your Sonic, if you like your Mario, you will definitely like Kirbys Dreamland. The character doesn't have some of the abilities that they have in the later games, but definitely worth checking out if you like that kind of game, if you like platformers. And it's really good. It's a really good game. I think everyone will be in agreement that Kirbys Dreamland is a must-have. There might be some must-have games that I'm missing in my collection, but this is definitely one of those ones you want to have, for sure. Kirbys Dreamland on the original Game Boy. I've got a boxed game here. It is Kirbys Pinball Land. This is a pinball game. I've had this game forever, guys. I've had this game forever. This, again, it breaks the rule. It has the title on both sides of the box and on the top as well for some reason. There's a look on the back as well. It's a pinball game. It's a good pinball game. I do like my good pinball games, and Kirbys Pinball Land is a good one as well. I've had this for absolutely forever. I don't remember where I got it. It just appeared in my collection from the before time, but it's one of those great games you definitely want to pick up. Alright, I'm going to try and find a place to put these games as well. On the ground, man. I'm going to have to put all these away at some point as well. Alright, I'll get my next boxed game out so I know that that's ready as well. Alright, next up we have Mario and Yoshi. Now this one might be a little bit confusing because this is one of many games that was renamed overseas. Kirby's Dream Course for the Super Nintendo was fun as well, Trevor. That's awesome. Like, there's so many good games in the series as well. So this might be a little confusing because this game was renamed in the PAL region. I believe in America this game was just called Yoshi or Yoshi's Cookie. This is a puzzle game. It's a bit Tetris-like, where different objects fall from the top and you've got to move them around and arrange them to clear the space. If it reaches the top of the screen, it's game over. Very good game. You might be under a different name in your region, but it's a very good game. It's not one of the cheap games, but I don't think it's expensive either. So Mario and Yoshi, or it might be called Yoshi, or it might be called Yoshi's Cookie. It's on the NES, I'm sure, as well. So great game. Great game worth picking up. Crystal Shard. There's a bunch of great games I want to check out, Blue Hedgehog, for sure. There's so many games that I want to grab. There's some great RPGs on the Game Boy and Game Boy Color as well. There's new RPGs coming out for the Game Boy Color as well. There is Infinity that is coming out from Incubate Games. I did a review of that not too long ago, and that's pretty cool. They've successfully funded that on a Kickstarter, so that's coming. Alright, next up, we have a series that I know Trevor really likes, and that is Metroid 2. This is a fantastic game, and this is Return of Samus. I believe this game was Game Boy exclusive, and it is really awesome. Now, this is one of the unique Game Boy cartridges. What is unique about this game is that it has a full color palette. And the full color palette is only playable on Game Boy Color and, of course, Game Boy Advance. But it's really interesting because this is a grey cartridge. And the grey cartridges are typically regular Game Boy cartridges, and they might have color palettes if you put them in to something like a Super Game Boy, if it has the little Game Boy Enhanced, Super Game Boy Enhanced sign there, or it might have a like generic color palette on the Game Boy Color. But this game is really unique in the sense that it's a grey cartridge. It has a full color, like complete color on the Game Boy Color, so it's very cool. Metroid 2, Turn of Samus. We're going to do a Super Metroid playthrough. Definitely a fun game to play through, Blue Hedgehog. You found 2 Game Boys. You found 2 Game Boys recently, Daniel? That's awesome, my friend. Yeah, they're really desirable as well. So Game Boy consoles are actually fairly expensive. But yeah, Crystal Shards is on the N64. But Amazing Mirror is on the GBA, and so all over different systems for sure. There's a lot of good RPGs on Nintendo systems, Blue Hedgehog, that's for sure. I might not know the names of all of them, for sure. But yeah, Metroid 2, very unique game, and I think it might be quite expensive right now. One of the games we're going to get to later in this video, Metroid Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance. I picked that cartridge up for £6. It now goes for over $100 for the loose cartridge because of the impending Metroid Dread coming out soon. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. But by the way, quickly, I'm going to talk about the colors of cartridges, because I might as well. So for Game Boy cartridges, you get grey cartridges, which are for regular Game Boy. You get black cartridges, which are for Game Boy, and they will also work on Game Boy Color, but they will work on original Game Boy as well in black and white. Then you get the transparent cartridges, which are designed for Game Boy Color, and they will only work on Game Boy Color. Just keep that in mind. Zero Mission is awesome. Trevor, for sure, and I did get it at the right time as well, definitely. Alright, okay, we have another boxed game, and this is a game I had the loose cartridge and the manual for, and I upgraded the boxed copy down the line. This game's pretty expensive in the box, and this is Mystic Quest, and if my memory serves me right, this is one of the Mana series. I might be getting that wrong, but there is also a game over here in the Power region called Mystic Quest on the Super Nintendo, and that is actually Final Fantasy Adventure, which is like a beginner RPG game. But this is actually part of the Mana series, if my memory serves me correctly. This is an awesome game. I have it in the box. As you can see, it's got the labels on all of the sides, which is very handy. Very handy when they have that. And on the back, there's some images. It's a bit Zelda-like, if you will, top-down adventure game. You've beaten Metroid 2 many times, Daniel. It's a great game for sure. Definitely one worth coming back to. Yeah, I actually really wanted to grab this game complete in the box. I got a great deal for it, and this is one of the ones I did want to grab the box for, because I don't like having the manuals loose. If I have the manuals, I want to have some sort of box to put them in. So there you go. I have this complete in box now. I'm very happy about that. Mystic Quest, it's a good RPG. Final Fantasy Adventure, over there is Mystic Quest. Yeah, it's something like that, Trevor. There's over here in the Power region, the Super Nintendo game has the exact same name, so I might have got confused there. But there you go. Alright. Let's move on to another unboxed game. This is Nemesis. And this is part of the Gradius series, I believe. I might be getting that wrong as well. But there you go, there's Nemesis. This is a shmup, and it's a really good one at that. This is one I was looking for, and I think I found this in Plymouth, if my memory serves me correctly. So I think I found this in Plymouth, and it's a really good game, and that was on one of my game hunting videos as well. I was very happy to find this, and it was in a shop in Plymouth. And this is a great game, and this game is exclusive to the Game Boy. It's worth checking out. Game Boy did have some shmups on it, some shoot-'em-up games. They weren't as prevalent, in the same sense that RPGs weren't as prevalent on the handhelds, but definitely they had some good ones on there, and this is a good one worth checking out. That one's called Interstellar Assault. Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of games got renamed over here. It gets very confusing at times as well. Yeah, there you go. So there's Nemesis. That's another good one. And next up we have a really good one, and this is Popeye. Popeye on the Game Boy. Now, Donkey Kong was originally going to be a Popeye game, unless I've got that wrong. This is Popeye II, actually, and this is actually a platformer. So this game is more like Mario than it is like Donkey Kong, and it is a platformer game. I think this might be exclusive to the Game Boy as well, but I could be wrong. I'm going to just keep saying that a lot in this video until I'm right. But yeah, Popeye 2, a great game, and it is definitely one worth checking out. It's one of the lesser known Popeye, I mean, the Popeye games themselves, I think, are lesser known, except for the first one on the Atari. But yeah, definitely a good game, Popeye 2. It's worth checking out on the Game Boy. Alright. Next up we have Revenge of the Gator. This is a pinball game. It is a really good pinball game as well. I do enjoy pinball games, especially on my handheld systems. Pinball games are really fun, and you can sink a lot of time into them, easily lose those hours on them, and pinball games are just really fun. I do like my pinball games in the same sense that I like my shmup games, because they are games that you don't need to put a massive time commitment for, and they're really fun. I like puzzle games, I like shoot 'em up games, I like platformers, I like shooters, I like everything. But yeah, pinball games are pretty fun. Revenge of the Gator is a good one as well. Alright, next up we have, this is one I spoke of previously, Space Invaders. So this has, I will point it out, it has the Super Game Boy Enhance sticker here, and this game is so unique as well on the Game Boy, because this game has, if you play it on the Super Game Boy, on the Super Nintendo specifically, it has the 16-bit version of Space Invaders as if you're playing it on a Super Nintendo on this cartridge as well, because the Game Boy version was so small, they were able to fit the 16-bit version on here as well as the 8-bit Game Boy version. So you get to play it in full color, in 16-bit, on the Super Game Boy if you do that. It's really interesting. It's a shame they didn't do that with more games, but it's kind of gimmicky, but it's really cool as well. The Space Invaders, another one of my favorite games of all time. So definitely really glad that they did that, and it's a nice oddity as well. But if you didn't look at that Game Boy enhancement on the Super Game Boy logo right there, you might not know, but because it's a grey cart. But it is very cool, very cool. Space Invaders on the Game Boy, classic game, absolutely amazing, and Space Invaders should be in everyone's collection for sure. Fantastic game. Alright, next up we have another classic, Super Mario Land on the Game Boy. Now the only complaint I have with this game is they never did a revised color version, so this only has like generic colors to it. But Super Mario Land is the Game Boy entry to the Super Mario series, and it's a platformer. This one's fairly simple game. It plays a lot like the original Mario on the NES. I should say the NES platformer Mario, not the Atari arcade one. You have that one, Tex. It's a good one, definitely. My only complaint is I have seen modded versions that fans have made where they've added color to the game, and it can look so good with a color palette. And with other games, they made DX versions on the Game Boy Color and added color to it, like The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. They did a full color version of that. They should have done that with Super Mario 1 and 2. But it's still a really great game. It's just, it could have done with color versions as well. But definitely a fantastic game. One of the best Game Boy games as well. The music is absolutely fantastic. The music is amazing. Such good music on the Game Boy. Super Mario Land. Super Mario Land, Legend of Seven Golden Coins. Well, Trevor, that is the next game, Super Mario Land. And it is fully titled 6 Golden Coins. There you go. One off. Super Mario Land 2, same deal. Fantastic game. This one is really cool because it has the top-down overworld, and you can move between levels like you could on the later Mario games, which is very cool. So you can select your levels, and this game is fantastic. It's very fantastic. You were close, Trevor, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Daniel. The Space Invaders is also on the Atari 2600, but if I had to pick, I would definitely go for the... I mean, the 2600 one is iconic, but I would go for the 8-bit versions rather... I mean, the Atari 2600 one is also 8-bit, but it's quite different compared to the Game Boy version. Game Boy version is really good. I think my preference would probably be the Game Boy version, but that is just because it's really good. The Atari 2600, don't get me wrong, Atari 2600 version is very good. It's the sound on the Atari 2600 version. The sound effects on the Atari are kind of crazy, but the sound on the Game Boy is really good. Anyway, Super Mario Land, I also have it on the 2600 as well, by the way. 6 golden coins. You've got the top-down overworld. You've got the side-scrolling platform areas as well. You've got constant scrolling areas as well. You've got a lot of versatility on this game. It is absolutely amazing. It is definitely worth checking out. I'm not sure on the price on the Super Mario Land games, but they're definitely worth checking out. They're really good. And I think I got both of the Mario Land games with my original Game Boy, or one of them I got with the Game Boy when I got it. Definitely. It's like that and Tetris are some of the games you just have to have. Alright. Speaking of Tetris, boxed game, we have Tetris. This has the title on the side, and on this side as well, and also on the top. Tetris, I don't need to tell you about the Tetris puzzle game. It's an absolute classic from Russia with fun. And this should be in everyone's collection. It is an absolutely amazing game. It is so timeless. It is proof that some gameplay just doesn't age. Like, sometimes people might say certain things become dated. Tetris will never be dated. It is such a simple pick up and play. In the same sense as Mario, you can give Mario Tetris to anybody, no matter what their age is, no matter what they know about gaming, and they will be able to play those games and they will have enjoyment of it. There's no age to these games. They are amazing, and this is one of the best-selling games of all time. Tetris on the Game Boy is amazing, and I upgraded to this boxed copy from my loose cartridge, but very cool to get it in the box, because a lot of my boxes, because they're cardboard boxes, a lot of them got damaged or thrown away, as was common with the boxed cardboard box games. Less so with the Sega games, because they were in clamshells, but similar to VHS cases. But this is actually really banged up, and it's a box protector that makes this look better than it actually is. One of your all-time favorites, Daniel, for sure. It is a fantastic game, absolutely fantastic, and I think we have, as well, Tetris 2 on the Game Boy as well. Now, I have to say, in a similar situation to the which version of Space Invaders do you prefer, I do not prefer Tetris 2 over Tetris. Tetris is so timeless, they tried to mix it up with Tetris 2. Another puzzle game, it plays differently, though. And I think that's what makes Tetris 2 just not my cup of tea compared to Tetris. So Tetris 2, it is a great game, it is worth picking up, but I would always play Tetris over Tetris 2. But this is a great game as well. Tetris 2, a lot of fun. They tried to do different things with the game to try and evolve it. It didn't need anything done to it because it was classic and iconic as it was. So Tetris 2, great game. It's still, don't get me wrong guys, this is still a really good game. Like any version of Space Invaders, any version of Tetris is always good, but I have my preferences, and the original Tetris is going to be my preference over Tetris 2. But there you go. Alright. Next up we have another Tetris game, Tetris Attack. Now this is just another different version of Tetris. They do some different things in this game. It's still really fun. Again, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but my preference is the original Tetris. But another one worth checking out. I do like the other versions of Tetris. I like a little spice, variety, but I do prefer the original Tetris, I have to say. Tetris Attack. You love Tetris Attack, Trevor? It's really good, but I prefer the original. Next up here we have The Addams Family. This is a platformer game. I don't believe this is the same as the NES version, but it might be. It might be. I think it actually, now that I think about it, I think it might be similar or the same to the NES game. Sometimes they have the same name but different game. But anyway, this is a platformer game. Addams Family, this is not like the Festus Quest style game. This is a different kind of game, but still pretty good. So there you go, Addams Family on the Game Boy. Classic IP as well. I love that intellectual property. I hope they do more with Addams Family in the future. Next up we have True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Play it now, come on, do it. This one is a little beat up, you might be able to tell, but you know, the camera focuses whenever it wants to. This game was also on the Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo one is better. And this is a top-down shooter. It's a fun game, actually. This cartridge is like a little beat up. It's like actually kind of rattling a little bit. Sometimes that happens, but it works absolutely fine. So True Lies, it's a fun game, actually. This game gets a tough reputation because it's from LJN, and LJN are well known from the Angry Video Game Nerd for making lesser well-received games. But this game's not that bad. True Lies is a pretty good LJN game. There you go. Very good, Tex. Exactly. Next up we have Wizards and Warriors X Fortress of Fear. Part of the Wizards and Warriors game series. Do it! Do it now! Put that Game Boy down! Alright. I don't know what voice I'm doing there. Fortress of Fear. Cool game. This is a platformer. This one I believe is Game Boy exclusive. It is a very cool game. And these games are a lot of fun. All of the Wizards and Warriors games are. So worth checking out. I think this game is pretty cheap. And it's a lot of fun. Plus, look at that cover art with the skeletons. Even though the webcam doesn't want to focus on it. We've been holding games at all different lengths. So I apologize for that, my friends. But the webcam doesn't want to work with me. But there you go. Wizards and Warriors Fortress of Fear. It's pretty good. Get some donuts. Do it now, says Trevor. Man, I want donuts now. I want donuts. Okay, we have a couple of oddities at the end here. So I pulled out a Japanese game earlier for another game, and that was Double Dragon. So this is a Japanese game for the Game Boy. This is an RPG called Legend. Now I don't have a translation patch for this to play in English. But this is a top-down RPG. Hey, no worries, Tex. Appreciate you dropping by, my friend. And I will catch you later, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. And I will see you next time. I don't know what I'm grabbing. Grabbing the air. Anyway. The Legend is a Japanese RPG. I just happened to have this. I don't remember where I found it. But it was very cheap. Actually, I think I got this from Games World Bodmin. So there you go. And this is a very cheap RPG. And I think I got this to test out my Retro Freak when I got it to see how it would play the Japanese cartridges. But I believe this will play in anything anyway, because like I mentioned, the system is not region locked. But yeah, it's a Japanese RPG. Pretty cool. Hey, appreciate you being here, my friends. Appreciate it, Trevor. This is a completely unlicensed, from an official cartridge to an unlicensed. This is a completely unlicensed multi-cart. So this is a bunch of random games on it. Hey, Digicon, how you doing, my friend? Welcome. Will there be a recap at the start of this episode? Last time on MVL Streaming. How you doing, Digi? We've just got to the end of the original Game Boy games. We've still got Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance to go, my friends, so fret not. There's still plenty of Game Boy action to be shown. How you doing, by the way, Digicon? Appreciate you stopping by. So, this has a bunch of... I can't remember where I picked this up. Actually, I think it was in Retro Replay in St. Austell. And I picked this up because it had a couple of Japanese exclusive games on it that I didn't have, and I wouldn't be able to grab copies of them anyway because I would have to get them from eBay overseas. So this had a couple of Japanese exclusive games on it. Sounds pretty cool. Taking a page of Resident Evil Revelations, Trevor. Yeah, exactly. We'll get a flashback episode. So the first game this has 8 games on it, and they have various different names. Even on the menu they have different names. This is completely unlicensed, as you can probably tell by looking at the kind of cheap label on this. The first game is SD Hero Gaiden 2, and that's a fighting game, a one-on-one fighting game. It's actually pretty good. For some reason that's the one that has the logo on the front there, but this is a multi-cart. The second game is Ranma 1/2 and this is a puzzle game. It's a really cool puzzle game. It's a top-down puzzle game. You play as a man and a lady, and you have to deal with enemies around the screen as well. It's kind of Bomberman-esque. The third game is Dr. Mario, as you know. Fourth game is Space Invaders. The fifth game is called Pipe Dream Mario. I don't know why they call it Pipe Dream Mario here. It is just the game Pipe Dream, which is a puzzle game where you link pipes together, and you have to have a constant flow without breaking the flow. The seventh game is Crystal Quest, which is... did we speak of that earlier? Never mind. The name sounds familiar. The seventh game is Crystal Quest, and that is an RPG. And the eighth game is Cubillion. And I believe the eighth game shows up on the menu as Mickey Mouse. even though it's just a puzzle game that happens to have a mouse on it. It's a number puzzle game. It's pretty fun as well. But anyway, that's a completely illegitimate cartridge. It's just a bootleg with like 8 games on. But it's pretty cool to have that anyway. But yeah, appreciate you guys dropping by. That is the Game Boy games. We're going to move on to Game Boy Color. But actually, before we move on to Game Boy Color, I'm going to separate a couple of games here because these, we're going to do the Game Boy Color black cartridges first, and then we're going to move on to the transparent cartridges. So I will pretty much consider these black cartridges to be Game Boy / Game Boy Color cartridges. So it might be a bit weird because when we get onto the box games, I'm probably going to include some of those there as well. But anyway, I'm going to quickly go over a couple of Pokemon games. So, right, we have for the original Game Boy, we have Pokemon Blue. And I have these games separated because they are colored cartridges, but they are just original Game Boy games. They have generic color palettes if you play them in any other Game Boy. But yeah, the original Pokemon Blue, awesome game. I don't need to tell you guys about Pokemon, fantastic. I did have both of these games, so I had Pokemon Red as well. And I had both of them so I could trade the different Pokemon. They have different Pokemon on them, different monsters to battle. So I had both games. I had Red first. Red is my game of choice. I always go with the fire type Pokemon. But yeah, very cool. In Japan, they had red and green, I believe. But over here, we had red and blue. So yeah, I had both of these original games, 151 Pokemon. And I also have on these games, I remember someone traded with me like a Mew, which is a game that's not Pokemon that's not on the game, but I have him on, I believe, both cartridge because there was a trick you could do by turning off your Game Boy at the right time, and then it would duplicate the Pokemon when you traded it to other people. So yeah, there's a graded. Oh, I wouldn't worry about graded games, Trevor. Graded game prices are ridiculous, and they are just ridiculous. But yeah, there you go. There's Pokemon Blue, and I also have, of course, Pokemon Red. And I also have, and I don't remember where I grabbed this, but Pokemon Silver version as well. Very cool. These games have gone up in price. They keep going up as well. But I think some of these ones are actually fairly easy to come by. Like red and blue and yellow. I don't have yellow. Yellow was like red and blue combined. It wasn't missing any Pokemon between version. Those ones were actually quite hard to find. Oh, Digicon, I wouldn't take any notice of graded game prices. They are absolutely ridiculous. It's like it's its own different market, and it's in some instances it's a bit of a shady market with graded game prices. I do need Pokemon Yellow, Trevor, for sure. You know what, guys? I came by a charity shop not too long ago, and it had like Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue. It had that 007 game that I mentioned earlier, and it had 2 copies of Pokemon Yellow. And as I was going in to buy one of the Pokemon Yellows, a reseller barged past me and bought all of those games at a discounted price. So I almost had a Pokemon Yellow. You would have seen it. It wasn't that long ago, actually, in this video. But a reseller got to me, and then, you know, they immediately got marked up. But yeah, anyway. Like I mentioned before, guys, grey cartridges were for original Game Boy. Then you got black cartridges which would play on Game Boy and Game Boy Color. So I'm going to go over a couple of black cartridges here. They will play on original Game Boy in black and white and on Game Boy Color in color as well. Full color as well, unlike the generic color palettes you'll get on the grey cartridges. So in no particular order. Oh, it's cool, Trevor. Like I'm cool with the guy that did it. But you know, if I got there a little bit earlier, I would have got myself a copy of Pokemon Yellow. But that is just how it is. First one here is Gex, and this game was on the 3DO. This was on the PlayStation. The Game Boy version is downgraded from those because those were, you know, higher bit versions, 16, 32-bit. This is an 8-bit version. Still pretty good platformer. Still a good version of this. I got this really cheap. And it's pretty cool. Good to have on this version as well. Like I mentioned, guys, the black cartridges play in black and white on regular Game Boy, but in full color on Game Boy Color, and of course on Game Boy Advance as well. Next up, we have Pocket Bomberman. I think this might be the side-scroller adventure Bomberman game I was thinking of earlier. This is a very good game. Best played on the Game Boy Color for full color. This is a really cool adventure game. It's actually RPG-like, if I remember correctly as well. So, awesome game. It's got boss battles in it. It's a really awesome and a really different Bomberman game. If you want to get that kind of experience, check this one out. Unless I've got that wrong. I do have that one. I just might have mixed up the names. Alright, nearly dropped this one. And this is The Quest for Camelot. This is a Disney RPG. I think I got this for £1, and I might have picked it up in one of my game hunting videos in Truro. I think I got this from Acorn Records. There you go. Oh, this is an awesome one. R-Type DX. So they did a couple of re-releases with the DX, which stood for Director's Cut, I believe. And they did a bunch of games like this. And the DX versions had full color from the original Game Boy ones, which were black and white. Definitely worth checking these out. These are the superior versions because they're in full color. In the same sense that there are some full color versions of like the Donkey Kong Land games and the Wario games. Some of those Wario games and Donkey Kong Land games have color versions and they have non-color versions. So definitely you want to grab the color versions because it's the same game but with color. R-Type DX. R-Type's a fantastic game as it is on the Game Boy. It is awesome. It's beautiful. R-Type DX. Love it. Next up we have Reservoir Rat. I think overseas this game is just called Rats. This is a platformer. The guy's got a little machine gun. It's kind of cute, kind of funny, but it's also a bit ridiculous as well. It's a cool game, lesser known. I liked grabbing this. I think I got it from CEX. Very cheap. Here's Tetris DX. Like I mentioned, these are the ones to grab. The DX versions have full color. So this was a re-release of the original Tetris. Like you saw, I have Tetris in the box, but Tetris DX has full color. Full color. We're competing with the Game Gear now, guys. We want full color. Of course, the Game Boy knocked Game Gear out of there because it had better battery. But yeah, Tetris DX, full color on this version. Full color, people, and you could play it on the original Game Boy as well, and it will play in black and white because it is a black cartridge. All right. Last black cartridge before... Oh no, I could have a couple more black cartridges. Never mind. We're going to move on to the transparent Game Boy Color cartridge soon. Jonin, the Jonin Monkey, hooked me up with this. This is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX. This is the color version of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. And this has extra stuff added to it as well. They have a color dungeon, which has things you can only interact with if you can see the colors, which is very cool. But this game will also play on a regular Game Boy in black and white, but on the Game Boy Color you get full color as well. This game looks beautiful in color. I wish they did this to Super Mario Land 1 and 2 on the Game Boy, but a man can dream. But as it stands, Link's Awakening DX is a absolutely fantastic game. You've got the Switch remaster of this, Blue Hedgehog Man. That is also a really good version. And to be fair, the Switch version has a bunch of quality of life improvements that make the game a little easier to play. And that's definitely something to keep in mind. But the original version has its own musical style, its own visual look, and it's also really good as well. And yeah, I'm glad I have this game. Thanks to Jonah for hooking me up with this, because this game's pretty expensive, especially if you want to get it in the box. But it's an awesome one to grab. The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX, exclusive to the Game Boy. And it's also on the Game Boy Color as well, as you saw right there. Alright. Hey Coopers, how you doing, my friend? Welcome. Appreciate you dropping by. Thanks for checking it out, my friend. We have the Smurfs Nightmare. This is a platformer, I believe, on the Game Boy Color. There you go. Smurf game. Never mind about being blue, though. We are happy because we're talking about some Game Boy games. Alright. Okay. I'm trying not to get them out of order in the shelf I have next to me with them in. Lastly, for the black cartridges, we have Turok 2. Turok 2 for the Game Boy is actually a side-scrolling platformer. It's very different from the N64 game, so keep that in mind. This game is completely different, but it's not bad. I actually find it pretty fun. The music on this game I actually really like, and in some of the other Game Boy Turok games you get some top-down modes as well, so it's entirely different. If you like Turok, you might like Turok 2 Seeds of Evil on the Game Boy. There you go. the original Zelda game on the NES was tricky, Trevor. Yeah, there's some cryptic things about it for sure. There are definitely some cryptic things. But yeah, that's one of the things where they had like Nintendo Power. Actually, I have a guidebook for one of the Pokemon games. I neglected to grab it, but I do have a strategy guide for one of the Pokemon games. I think it's Silver and Gold. I have the official Prima guide for, but I also used to have the Red and Blue one, but unfortunately that one got destroyed. The effect of using it so much to find all the Pokemon, I ended up breaking the pages. All right, so. Moving on to Game Boy Color properly, but there may still be some black cartridges in there as well as the transparent, because I'm going to include boxed games now as well. So, for the transparent cartridges that only work on Game Boy Color, we have Cannon Fodder. This is a really cool game from Codemasters. It is a top-down game, and it is really fun. You move your units across the screen and you take out the bad guys as you go. So this is a good point, I think, to properly show you the difference between the cartridges. So let's do that real quick. You have your gray Game Boy games. Gray Game Boy games only work on the original Game Boy. They will also work on the Game Boy Color, but they will be in black and white. And they will, if you have a Game Boy Advance, replace them as well. But a bit misleading how I phrased it there, so I will rephrase it. Original Game Boy games are black and white only, essentially. You have black cartridges. These will play on your original Game Boy in black and white, but they will also play in color on Game Boy Color Forward. And then you have the transparent cartridges. These will not play on original Game Boys, but they will play on Game Boy Color Forwards, and they are only in color. So there you go, there's the 3 different type of cartridges, just so you know what the different colors of cartridges mean. There are a lot of cartridges that had different colors for random reasons. Donkey Kong, for example, had yellow cartridges. Pokemon, red and blue, and what have you, gold and silver cartridges. But just keep that in mind. But anyway, Cannon Fodder, cool game. Cool game. We have... Alright, so let's go over some boxed games. Some boxed games for the Game Boy Color. We have the Game & Watch Gallery 2. Look at this artwork on this cover. It is fantastic. I love Game & Watch games, and this is the sort of thing I'm talking about, guys. There's nothing written on either side for the name. How do you display these? On my shelf, the side sticks out. What do I do about that? It only says the name tiny on the top there. But that is great cover art regardless. Fantastic Game & Watch games here. These games have the characters replaced by Mario characters. They have Vermin here with Yoshi, one of my favorite versions of Vermin. It's absolutely fantastic. They have Peach in a game here as well. They have Mario in a game. There's even a version of Donkey Kong on this as well. Very cool, and this is a fantastic collection. I really, really like this collection. I can't say enough about how much I love these Game & Watch games. They're a lot of fun. And I have a Game & Watch of the Mario that they released in the anniversary. They're also doing one for Zelda, and the Zelda one's going to have Vermin on as well. It'll also have Link's Awakening, the black and white version, and it will have Zelda 1 and 2 on it, speaking of, which is very cool. I think it's kind of a shame they didn't put the color version of Link's Awakening on the Game & Watch, though, because the new one, that is, because they definitely could have done. Alright, another Game Boy Color boxed game. We have Heroes of Might and Magic. Popular game series from 3DO. This one is ridiculous. So I'll show you the back real quick. There's the back, so you can have a look at it. It's top-down adventure game. This is ridiculous. It has nothing on either side of the name or on the top. So how do you display this? How do you display this and know what it is? If you've got a bunch of different Game Boy games, how do you know what this is? I'm not sure if it was like this overseas, but in the PAL region, you get games like this where it just doesn't say anything on the sides. It's ridiculous. You have a friend that likes the Might and Magic games? I do as well. It's a great game series. Great game series. They have a lot of different games, a lot of different systems as well. Alright, another Game Boy Color game. We have Santa Claus Jr. Now, there was a Santa Claus Jr. game on the Game Boy Advance as well, but that is a different game. This is a European exclusive game as well, and it has nothing on this side or on the top. I said it was a bit strange like this, but it does have the title on this side. But typically, I would have the side that has the Game Boy logo facing out, which would have nothing on it. So it's a bit awkward. But this is a cool platform game, European exclusive, I believe. And in this game, the character Santa Claus goes missing from a witch, I believe, and a fairy enlists your help to save him. And by the way, this creature on the top of there looks like Charizard from Pokemon. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that doesn't look like Charizard from Pokemon. Anyway, I digress. Let's move on. Santa Claus Jr. is pretty cool though. Alright. Another Game Boy Color game. This is fully color, and this is Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. This is essentially the NES game in full color. On nothing on the sides, by the way, as I mentioned. That's a little awkward. But the title is on the top. Now, it boggles my mind. It boggles my mind that they did Super Mario Bros. Deluxe on the Game Boy, but they didn't do Super Mario Land 1 and 2 Deluxe. Boggles my mind that they did that. So this is a great game, but the screen size on the Game Boy is not good for this game because you have to make blind leaps and things like that because of the small screen size, the resolution of the Game Boy screen. It's unfortunate. They should have done Mario Land 1 and 2 in color, but they did this. This is a color only cartridge. Nice, exactly, Zombie. But they should have done Mario Land 1 and 2. But there you go. There's a look at that. And it's another cool one to have in the box as well. I don't collect completely, like, only boxed games, because it's kind of harder to come by. Just the boxed version. It's a lot easier to come by the loose cartridges. They're a lot cheaper as well. Alright, Game Boy Color as well. We have... I've definitely gone past... I said I would go past. Yes, I've gone out of alphabetical order here. But that's fine. We'll do the rest of these Game Boy Color boxed games, and then we'll move back to the cartridges. That's what we'll do. Wario Land 3 for the Game Boy Color. Nothing on the sides here. It's a little awkward. And nothing on the top either. But this is a great game. Great to have it in the box as well. The box art on this is very nice. And oh, there's the title of that one as well. Great game. Fantastic to have it in the box as well. Pretty cool. Yeah, I did suspect I would end up going out of order with these. I have some more Game Boy Color cartridges to show you out of the box as well. But we'll just show all of the boxes now. I think it's going to be... I'm changing my plans as we go with the camera and with how I show it. I think it'll be easier to show these all in one go. Star Wars Yoda Stories for the Game Boy Color. This is a really fun game. This one is a lot of fun. This is a black cartridge. By the way, black cartridges don't always play on the Super Game Boy. I think this is one of those ones that doesn't quite work right on the Game Boy. And this is like an RPG top-down. It's very fun. Very cool. I had this one for ages. And I definitely recommend picking it up. And it plays great on the Game Boy Color. And here's an odd one as well. This is WWF Betrayal on the Game Boy Color. And this game is a side-scrolling beat-em-up. This is not your typical wrestling game. This is a side-scrolling beat-em-up. In this game, Stephanie McMahon has been taken by some unknown person, and you, as either The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, or The Rock, have to save her. There's title on either side, but not on the top of this one because reasons. But yeah, it's actually a really cool game. Alright, so as I mentioned and suspected, going back and forth between boxed and unboxed did get me out of order. So we'll move back on to loose cartridges. This cartridge is very, very dirty. And it is Magical Tetris. The camera doesn't even want to show it, it's so dirty. Anyway, I digress. Magical Tetris Challenge. This is a kind of an RPG Tetris game. It's got Disney characters in, including Mickey Mouse as well. So this game is really interesting. You go around in a top-down overworld, and then you find a challenger to battle them in Tetris. It's really cool. Yeah, it's a very cool game. I need to get you can't see it on the camera, but this cartridge is disgusting. Camera won't even focus on it because of that. But yeah, it's a Tetris game from Capcom with Disney characters. It's crazy. It's very cool though. All right. Actually, we almost sort of transitioned well because we did the black cartridges, and then I think I showed cannon fodder, but now we're doing the rest of the transparent cartridges. So just as planned, or sort of anyway. But in some sort of order, I am showing you the cartridges and the boxed games regardless. Here's Paperboy on the Game Boy Color. Great version as well. This game, this is exactly the kind of game that is a lot of fun to play on the Game Boy. The Master System version looks great of this game, almost looks 16-bit, but the Game Boy version also looks really good in color, like the NES version. It's pretty cool. Whoa, slow down! You can't leave us on a cliffhanger. It's a cool game, Digicon, with the WWF Betrayal. I do recommend picking it up. I would probably recommend loose cartridge because complete in box is probably more expensive. But to be fair, I collect a lot of games in like Paperboy here, loose cartridge, because the loose cartridge prices are a lot cheaper. If you don't mind loose cartridge, I know certain people will only collect complete in box, and I understand that. It's good to have the manual, it's good to have the box to display it on the shelf. The Game Boy boxes, at least the power versions, don't display very well, so it makes very little difference to me if it's boxed or unboxed, as long as I can have it and play it. And next up we have Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. This game is entirely different from any other version. It has a bunch of different game modes on it actually. You can rescue people in burning buildings. I believe there's like mech battle sections, and there's like maybe other gameplay modes in here as well. Pretty cool, very interesting game. They've reached far on this one. And you know what? I've always been a fan of the Power Rangers actually. Always been a fan of the original. Same with like Pokemon. I'm a fan of the original Pokemon and original Dragon Ball and original Power Rangers as well. Or at least the overseas original Power Rangers that went on for quite a while over in Japan before we saw it, our version, with the Japanese action sequences where they are Power Rangers swapped in. They took that footage and swapped it with footage of teen drama from like the western side, if you will. Anyway, let's talk about Rayman. Rayman's the next game on the Game Boy Color. This is similar to the PlayStation version, but of course PlayStation version is 32-bit. This is this is 8-bit. Game Boy Color version still looks really good. Still very playable. They've made a couple of concessions down, so like the cinematics are just like pictures, but it's still very cool to grab it. Still very cool. Didn't watch that series in full. Didn't watch it in full, Trevor. There's so much of it out there though as well. We spoke about this previously actually. Resident Evil Gaiden on the Game Boy Color. I did a Resident Evil ranking video recently. This one did rank very highly. This was evidence to the fact that they could have put more Resident Evil games on the Game Boy and up to the Game Boy Advance. This was the only one that I know of. They did on DS and 3DS. Resident Evil Gaiden is really awesome. It's a true survival horror game. The timing mechanics in the battle system may take a little bit of time to get used to, but this game is so good and it's definitely worth checking out. It is expensive. I think I paid like 60 for it. I'm pretty sure it goes to 80 to 100. But if you can get this game cheap, and especially if you can get it complete in box cheap, pick it up. Resident Evil Gaiden is a great game, and you get a lot of good time for playing this game as well. So Resident Evil Gaiden is definitely one worth checking out. Alright. Another really awesome game. We have Return of the Ninja on the Game Boy Color. I got this from a charity shop, and I got this for very cheap. This is another expensive game. This is like £60, maybe 80. I haven't checked it recently. It might be more expensive than that, but this is an expensive game. It plays a bit like your Ninja Gaiden style games. This is a sequel to a game on the NES, I believe. And yeah, really awesome. Return of the Ninja is a very good game. You can play as one of two characters, a man and a lady ninja, and you make your way through the game to rescue your other ninjas. This game is really good, and it's definitely worth checking out. I think it's pretty pricey, but if you can find it like I did for very cheap, it's definitely one worth checking out. So yeah, it's an awesome game. Really good music in that game as well. Next up we have Thunderbirds on the Game Boy. This game has different gameplay modes to it, similar to the Power Rangers one. I really love the puppet show of this as well, like Captain Scarlet and things like that. Um, the gameplay has some sections of like shmup, like vertical scrolling, and it also has other sections of gameplay that are different as well. Pretty cool. I don't know when I picked this up because I found this in my in a bag of game pickups. So I don't know when I picked it up because it had been in this bag for quite a while. But I ended up missing it out of pickups because I picked it up and I misplaced it. But yeah, cool game. And next up, I want to thank Jonan as well for hooking me up with these as well. We have the Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages, and we also have the Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. These games are expensive. So much thank you for Jonah for hooking me up with these. These were originally his copies, and he's played through them, and he wanted to send them off to a good place and to someone he knew that would keep and take care of them. So thank you so much to Jonah Monkey, because he hooked me up with Link's Awakening and these two Zelda games. This is kind of like a Pokemon Red and Blue type deal, but these games are very different. But in combination, they can do different things if you play them through in certain orders. So very cool. You get interaction between the games, different stories. One is more action orientated, and one is more puzzle orientated. So there you go. The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. Awesome game. Top-down Zelda games. Definitely worth checking out. They are expensive, especially in the box. These games are incredibly expensive in the box. I remember Jonan was apologetic that he didn't have the boxes, and I was like, Jonan, man, if they were in the boxes, they would be so expensive. So it's better that they're out of the box. Yeah, so much thanks to Jonan for hooking me up with these. Really awesome. And yeah, we traded some games for them as well. So it was really cool for him to get those for me. Because, yeah, these games are hard to get your hands on for a good price. And The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons, and I was very happy to get them for mates rates, for sure. Another great game as well. Really happy to have those in the collection as well. They are expensive because they're good. Alright. Tonic Trouble. There is an N64 version of this game. This game is a side-scroller platform, it's nothing like that. I gotta be honest, Tonic Trouble is a bit rough around the edges on the Game Boy. Oh, I dropped it. Of all the games I could drop, Tonic Trouble I am fine with dropping. We have Turok, Rage Wars. Nothing like the N64 game. Nothing like that, completely different. This has like top-down areas where you like shoot tanks and stuff like that. It also has some other areas as well, like side-scrolling if I remember correctly. Great game though. So nothing like the other game though. And this game actually has like a rip on the front of it. Don't know if you can see that, it's got like a rip on the front of the label. Which is a little awkward, but not much I can do about that. We have Turok 3, Shadows of Oblivion. Another Turok game. I might be misremembering the gameplay. This one definitely has like different modes to it. Some of these Turok games have top-down sections. Some of them have side-scrolling sections. Some of them have scrolling sections that go in different directions as well. Turok 3 on the Game Boy. Pretty cool game. I recommend checking these out. They can be very expensive. And we have, I put this one separate because it's a different size. We have Perfect Dark. This has like a rumble feature in it. It needs batteries for that. It needs batteries for the rumble feature. Don't leave batteries in your controllers or cartridges though, because they might leak. Had that happen with a lot of stuff. And I think I've broken this. But I will put this back together. Alright, well I will sort that out later, but there you go. Perfect Dark for the Game Boy. You've never played the third of the N64, Trevor? There's a lot of good Turok games, and I think they recently got ported to modern systems. At least some of them did. Limited run games with physical versions of them. Alright. That is it for the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. We're now moving on to Game Boy Advance. And I showed the previous games in a bit of a jumbled order because I was going back and forth. I'm going to try and show these in alphabetical order. Because we don't have the confusion between what type of cartridge it is here. These are all Game Boy Advance, so there you go. I will try and show these in alphabetical order. I mean, it had a jumbled order earlier. We went off the rails, but we'll get back on them now. But yeah, we're all having fun, my friends. Okay. So, first of all, we have Advance Wars in the box. This is a really fun game. There's a new Advance Wars game coming to modern systems, actually. These are tactical games. Very cool. By the way, look at that. Nothing on either side. How are you supposed to organize that? On the top, though. Very cool game. I love this game. I picked it up when it came out. Secondhand. So maybe I didn't. Maybe I picked it up secondhand when it came out. Maybe I'm misremembering. But this game is really fun. So it's definitely one that's worth checking out. And I really like this game. And I think I thought, actually, you know what it is? I might have had this and it might have sustained water damage. Because a lot of my collection did. And I might have replaced it. That might be what's up here. But I can't remember. But the Advance Wars, really, really good game for the Game Boy Advance. Alright. Next up we have Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge for the Game Boy Advance. Rare game, as in, not as in it's like incredibly collectible, as in it's from the company Rareware. Yeah, this game is really cool. It looks really good. The Game Boy Advance was so good for what it could do, especially the SP was so tiny. You had the NES, which kind of felt like... you had the... When you got to the Game Boy Color, it felt like you had the original NES in your hands. When it came to the Game Boy Advance, it felt like you had like a full... it felt like you had a full Super Nintendo in your hands. The games looked amazing, and I was a big fan of what you could do on this. But yeah, having a Banjo-Kazooie game is fantastic. I have Banjo-Kazooie on the N64. Great game. I have it in the box, actually. Don't have this in the box, but there you go. Grunty's Revenge. Next up we have Banjo Pilot. This is essentially a kart racing game, but it's in the air. That's its gimmick. It plays a lot like Mario Kart, and it's a lot of fun. And yeah, very cool to have this on the GBA. I love the size of these cartridges as well. So like Game Boy Advance cartridges, I will collect out of the box, but I won't collect DS and 3DS cartridges out of the box, or Switch, because I think that those ones are way too small. But Game Boy Advance ones are pretty good, even though it's like impossible to sort of organize them. You may just end up having a drawer full of randomly positioned ones. I mean, after we're done, I'm gonna have to put all of this stuff back. So yeah. But anyway, Banjo Pilot. It's a bit like Mario Kart. If you like Mario Kart, you'll probably like this game. There's that. Oh man, we got a good one here. But first, making sure I'm doing these in order, we have Black Belt Challenge. This is a fighting game. I had this one for ages, and I got it in the box. I think I got this second hand. Look at that, nothing on the side again. So how do you even organize these? Honestly, guys, tell me, how do you organize these? There's a look at the back there. It is a very colorful fighting game, and it's pretty cool. Good to have it in the box. Alright, next up as well, we have Bomberman Tournament in the box as well. This one's pretty good. It has the name on both sides. There's no rule, rhyme or reason to where you have these names. This one has them on both sides. But there you go, Bomberman Tournament. This has a great multiplayer modes on it as well. Pretty cool. And I believe it also has a single player mode, if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty cool as well. Bomberman Tournament, of course. I love my Bomberman games. I absolutely love them. Alright. Next up, one I was definitely excited to grab, and it is Breath of Fire on the Game Boy. Very cool to have... Game Boy Advance, sorry, which is what we're on. Very cool to have this on the Game Boy Advance. These RPGs, you started to get more RPGs with the Super Nintendo style RPGs on the Game Boy Advance, and it was very welcome to have that sort of thing on the go. Absolutely love Breath of Fire. I think this game is not cheap, but I don't think it's super expensive. At least, I don't think it is. I could be wrong, guys. It could be. But I don't think it is. But anyway, Breath of Fire is a fantastic game, and it's good to get the early games in these series, and the re-releases, of course, because as this would be. But it's really good to have those versions as well. That's technology for you. Make everything shorter. Yeah, it's crazy, Trevor, how they can make things smaller but have more on them. It's crazy. But yeah, guys, Breath of Fire, fantastic game on the Game Boy Advance. I probably don't need to tell you about Breath of Fire. You probably are aware that this game is sought after. It is a good game, and it is definitely one that is worth playing. I want to make more time for these RPGs. The thing about RPG games is they take a little more time commitment than you pick up and play games like your shmups and your puzzle games and things like that. But RPG games are definitely rewarding in their story, and they're definitely a lot of fun to play. So Breath of Fire is a really good game, and I'm happy to have it. It was one of the ones I had been looking for a while, actually, so I was glad to find that. Alright, here we have Bobble, old and new. I actually just recently picked this up. So at the time of this recording, I checked out a location I hadn't gone to before, and I got some more game hunting footage. So if you are a fan of my edited game hunting videos, and I will have a new game hunting video coming down the line. So look out for that. It'll have this game in it and some other games. It'll be a bit out of place considering I'm showing you this now, but you will see games I picked up in that video, and I will talk about them then. But yeah, if you like game hunting videos, look forward to that. Hey, Jonan, how you doing, my friend? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Appreciate you dropping by. There's that Jonan who hooked me up with those Zelda games. Appreciate it, buddy. GBA is one of the best. It is. I was just saying I like the cartridge size because like some of the other cartridge systems, the cartridges are too small that I feel I will lose them. But GBA is about the right size that I'm fine collecting loose. I don't think I'll lose it. Anyway, Bobble. It's a puzzle game. You guys know all about puzzle games and how I like them. Bobble is a classic. It's not just fun to say, it's fun to play. Bobble. But yeah, title of Bobble, and it is really good. This one is old and new, so I think it has a revised version and a previous version on it as well. Very cool to grab that, and definitely happy to have that in the collection. And right, next up, I'm going to knock over all the cartridges. I put it here. There's like almost a landslide of cartridges that could happen from where I've stacked these. I'm not looking forward to putting them all back. It wasn't that bad taking them down, but putting them back is going to be a challenge. Anyway, guys, next up we have Castlevania. Now, I believe this has another name overseas. I think it is called Castlevania Circle of the Moon. But over here it's just called Castlevania. And honestly, guys, this had a sticker on it. It had a sticker on the box. I took the sticker off and it ripped really badly, which is a crying shame. I'm very upset about that. But there's not much I can do about it, you know. I had thought about maybe printing out another sticker and putting it over it, because it is a bit of an eyesore, but it's as good as it's gonna get. Maybe I'll upgrade to a better box down the line, and then that's what I'll do. But for now, there's Castlevania. All games are fun. Yeah, for sure, Jonan. They're a lot of fun. Those adventure games, they do take time to play as well. Hey, Fry, welcome. Oh yeah. So this has the name on the side there, but not on the top or the other side. I tend to display these games this way round, which, you know, you're not going to see the name this way round. The most fearsome one. I know, right? I'm going to quickly, complain about stickers for a second. Stickers on cardboard boxes. If you have a game in a cardboard box, do not put a sticker on it. If you're going to price games, don't put your price sticker on the cardboard box, because it's cardboard. It's going to rip. It's like you wouldn't put a price sticker on a comic book. Like, you rarely see that, right? So why do people put them on cardboard boxes on video games? My goodness, people. Yeah, so, I mean, there's also some dents on this as well. But, yeah. And actually, it's actually even peeling a little bit there as well, where I took the sticker off. So, I do want to upgrade this box at some point to a better box. But it is an expensive game. So, I'll just keep what I've got for now. But anyway, Castlevania, also known as Circles of the Moon. Fantastic Castlevania, or even Metroidvania if you want to call it that, game. Alright, next up, another boxed game. We have Column's Crown. This is very cool. I love sing it like you mean it. Exactly, Jonan. Um, I love puzzle games, as you know. Columns. You might typically associate Columns as the Sega Tetris, if you will, but made its way on the Game Boy Advance, of course. This is the side I actually have out on the shelf, and it's got no label on, which is just amazing. But it does have the label on either other side. Like I mentioned earlier, guys, I think what I'm going to end up doing is like putting a sticker to maybe on this bit here, like on the box protector, put a sticker on it. It's what I probably will do, just that has the name on it, so I know what it's called. Columns, great dual-based puzzle game. These games are great. These games are absolutely great, and they're a lot of fun. You can also get this in compilation cartridges with other games. I think this comes in a compilation with Choo Choo Rocket as well. I could be making that up, but I'm pretty sure that's a thing. But yeah, Columns Crown. Great game. Great game. Alright. Next up, we have Crash Bandicoot XS. Now, you might say this game might be a bit excessive. Just let that sink in. Yeah, so this game... Hey, Simon, I should draw in the rest of the art. Man, I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that box. It does bug me. It does. I thought about printing off... What I thought about doing is printing off like a sticker of the whole artwork and then cutting out like that bit and then putting that on as a sticker. But I'm not sure if that's better or worse. But there you go, my friend. Actually, I also thought about putting a sticker that just said Circle of the Moon on it, and because then that would still say the title, and it would cover up that mess. How you doing, by the way, Simon? Appreciate you dropping by. So this is a version of the PlayStation game on the Game Boy Advance, and it's actually really good. It has other sections to it as well. It's not just like side-scrolling. I think this might have like its own parts to it as well. It's very cool. What they did with this is very cool. The technology is very cool. You've got like 3D scrolling in. Instead of his name here, you've got a picture of Crass. But there you go. And yeah, you've got like parts where you move towards the camera. Parts that are like almost like shmup parts. And then like platforming parts. It's so cool what they did with this game. The 3D style capabilities of the Game Boy Advance are so impressive in this game. With the pre-rendered sprites that you see, what they can do with it is just so impressive that it looks so good. And you'd honestly be mistaken in thinking it might be 32-bit. Looks so good. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot XS on the Game Boy Advance. Alright, so next up we have Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure. This isn't the best cover. So this is a cover I've made myself. And the reason I made this cover myself, I haven't put a cover on it. I just wrote the name on the side. I misspoke. The reason I put this in a DS case is this is cartridge and manual for this. And normally I wouldn't pick up loose cartridge with manual. I don't like having loose manuals. Which is why I ended up putting this in this style of case. This is a American DS case, by the way. American original DS cases had a space for the Game Boy Advance cartridge, as well as the DS cartridge as well. For whatever reason, they had a space for the Game Boy Advance, and they had enough space to fit your Game Boy Advance manual in there as well, which is pretty cool. So I use them if I have the manual as well. Our UK DS cases are transparent instead of being black. They're also much wider, and they don't fit the games as well. So the American ones are the ones I needed to grab for that. I don't know why our cases are different, but we do fit more languages in the manual. So it's the same cases like the PlayStation and the Dreamcast. We have dual cases where America used the CD cases. So these American cases are a lot thinner because there were less languages in the manual. Our ones are transparent, these ones are black. But anyway, this is a DS case so that I could fit the cartridge and the manual in there. Do you think the UK DS cartridge did that for a while at the start as well, Jonan? Yeah, for sure. The American ones are definitely the better choice though, because the manuals fit in there better as well. But what I've seen people do is I have a couple of replacement cases for like Super Nintendo games where people put. I've seen people do this for like clamshell cases for like NES games and Super Nintendo games. They have loose cartridges, and I've seen them do that, and they print off their own covers from websites that make these covers, and they put these covers in there. So I thought about printing off like a cover. And another reason I needed the American size as well is those covers that websites provide for these type of cases. So if you wanted to make like pseudo box, if you didn't have a box, the covers websites provided are sized for the American cases, because our ones will be thicker on the spine. So those covers I could download and print off myself wouldn't fit. But I'm thinking about printing off one of those covers for this, and then it will look a bit nicer. But yeah, I just have this to keep the manual with it. But anyway, Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure is actually a fairly expensive game. I grabbed it for about £8, I think, in Faceless Monkey. But I didn't realise it was expensive when I grabbed it. It's a really good game. It's got side-scrolling sections, it's got shmup-style sections, it's got one-on-one fighting sections as well. It's a really good role-playing game. Adventure game, I should say. But yeah, very cool. But yeah, so I'm thinking about doing what people do with NES games and Super Nintendo games, where they make their own clamshells and they print their own covers for them. I'm thinking about doing that. There are websites that do the covers for you, but they're designed for American cases. I hope I've explained that well enough and less rambly. But I know a lot of people that just collect loose games because they're much cheaper rather than collecting complete in box. But then they make their own covers with the clamshell cases, and either on Photoshop or they download a pre-made one on a website, and then they line the shells with them, and it looks a lot nicer actually. And then that way, unlike the Game Boy games that don't have the name on the spine, you would have it all looking nice and all uniform. So yeah, I definitely see a lot of merit to making your own covers and putting them in certain cases, which is very cool. I know people do that for NES and SNES, and Game Boy is quite popular as well. Game Boy has been problematic for me to store. You know what? I've seen people use like tool trays to display the cartridges facing, actually, which would be very cool as well. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. Next up, we have Dragon Ball Z, the Legacy of Goku. This is a French cartridge, but it is playable in English, which is very cool. Some games aren't. So if you wanna get an overseas cartridge that the cover of the cartridge is not in English, make sure you check if it has the English language available on it. This one does, but other games in the Dragon Ball Z series don't. You buy loose games, but you never made your own cover, Jonan. Yeah, to be sure, like loose games are a lot cheaper. This was very cool to find this. It does play in English. You love those cases for GBA games, CM Retro? Yeah, for sure. It's definitely something worth doing as well. It looks really nice as well. If you've got them all in the all uniform, it looks really nice. Hey, Video Game Lover 58. How you doing, my friend? Welcome to the stream. So this is a French game, but it does have the English language option. But they don't always have the option of the English language. So if you're going to get a overseas version, you do want to check that it has the English language option. This is a cool game. I much prefer the Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure though. This one is a little bit harder. But it is cool. There's a bunch of games in this series as well, so I would like to grab all of them. But then again, I would like to grab every game, so what's that then? Alright. Next up, we have Dungeons & Dragons Eye of the Beholder. This is a typical dungeon crawler game. It's got like first-person dungeon crawling action, and then that kind of like turn-based combat, if you will, when you run into enemies. It's very similar to the really old PC games, vintage PC games, if you will, where you're crawling through a first-person dungeon, picking your path left and right and forward, and then you run into an enemy and then you battle. Very cool game, Eye of the Beholder. It's a Dungeons & Dragons game, and yeah, I was glad to have this one and add it to the collection. Alright. Next up we have, I'm fondling my cartridges here, a box game. We have X vs. Sever 2 Ballistic. This, the film, you know, I mean, I'm a big fan of Lucy Liu regardless, but the game is, can you seduce a dragon as a bard, Jonan? I could have an attempt. I could definitely have an attempt. This game is a first-person game. You didn't get a lot of first-person games on the Game Boy Advance because, honestly, the resolution was a little too small and it ended up being a bit of a blurry mess. but this is a first-person game. It plays a lot like Doom, or Quake, if you will. And the name is on that side. This is a little beat up, but in the box protector looks alright. I think I got this at the Truro Game Con. So when I did that game hunting video, I think this is where I got this. And it was pretty cool to grab this in the box. I'm not sure if I grabbed it loose there and then upgraded to a box later. But there you go. It plays a lot like Doom. There you go. Pretty cool game. X vs. Ever 2. I think one of the other games didn't rate very highly. But I can't remember which one that is. Alright. Next up we have another recent pickup. And it is Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Very cool. This game is about £50 in the box. I picked it up very recently for £20 loose cartridge. And I was fairly happy with that. I would love to have this complete in box. But the complete in box price is much more expensive. Maybe this would be a good one to make your own case for. That's for sure. It would be a case for making your own case. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Different from the PS1 version. There's another version as well on the PSP where they added characters from another Final Fantasy game. This is a tactical, turn-based game. Roleplay game as well. Very cool to have this. I had been looking for this a while. I got it as a loose cartridge. You're going to see this in a future game hunting video that's coming up. And very happy about that. There will be a couple of those games from that video in this video you're seeing here live. Hear good things about Final Fantasy Tactics. It is a great game for sure. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. I can't say enough good things about the Final Fantasy games. They also got remakes on the PSP as well. I have a bunch of those as well. But yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. It's a great game. Great game. Alright. Final Fight 1. The cover of this is, the label I should say, is really dirty. Sorry about that, guys. But I can't really clean it because then I'll rub it off. Final Fight. It's a version of Final Fight on the Game Boy Advance. It has, I think, all of the characters. And the only thing it's missing that I really like is the Sega CD music. I love the Sega CD music. But other than that, it's really good. There's other versions of this as well. There's a version of Final Fight Arcade on the Xbox 360 that has its own music as well. It's in the Capcom compilation. In a Capcom compilation on the Xbox 360. But this is a fine version. To have Final Fight on the go, Crystal Chronicles, Trevor. There's some of those games I quite like, to be fair. I mean, I will play any role-playing game. It's just finding the time for them. That's the thing. I think we discussed that before, though. Finding the time for role-playing games. But yeah, I can definitely find this time for side-scrolling beat-em-ups. It's great to have it on the go. If anything, having this game portable is really good. I got this cheap. The cartridge is really dirty, so I wouldn't mind getting a not dirty version. It's a dirty game, and it's a dirty cartridge. But never mind me. Alright. Alright. Next up we have Game & Watch Gallery Advance. I think this might be Game & Watch Gallery 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 overseas. We had different namings over here. Game & Watch Gallery Advance is absolutely amazing. It's a collection of Game & Watch games. I think you have the option to play like original black and white versions or new and enhanced versions on this as well. I love Game & Watch games. They're so much fun. They're simple, but they're so fun and addictive to play. And Game & Watch Gallery Advance is a fantastic collection of Game & Watch games. I'm pretty sure this is a very cheap cartridge as well. And so I would definitely recommend picking it up and checking it out. There's a bunch of Game & Watch games in. Perfect to pick up and play when you're on the go. Maybe when you're traveling. They're absolutely fun. There's so many Game & Watch collections out there. Yeah, exactly. I can't remember the numbering of this one exactly. But Game & Watch Galleries Advance is certainly a good one to grab. And you can grab any of them out of order. And they all have great games on them. And yeah, I'd certainly like to have all of them myself. But yeah, Game & Watch Gallery Advance on the Game Boy Advance. There you go. Alright, what are we looking at next? Another RPG. Golden Sun. This is one I've seen it in the box. I think I saw it in the box at Biggie's Games and DVDs before they moved location from St. Austell to Palm Market. And they had this in the box, but I didn't grab it at the time. And I regret it. I want this game in the box, but this is another RPG. Another great RPG. And I think I grabbed this loose cartridge from a Once Cash Center in St. Austell, actually. Way down the line after the fact. But yeah, Golden Sun, great RPG. A lot of story to it. Finding the time for these RPGs, that's the challenge. That is the challenge, people, finding the time for them. But it's a really good game, so definitely recommend checking it out. Golden Sun for the Game Boy Advance. Sweet game. Next up we have another one of these games in a American DS case, and this is Iridium 2. Too much light on my webcam to show that, but this is in this case because I have the cartridge and the manual. Now I think this game is actually a little hard to, like, a little expensive now. I could be wrong, but the manual here is a little bit wrecked. You might be able to tell from the corner of the corner there is really beaten up. But it's like someone chewed on it. Arr, gaming! I want to eat my games. But I was still really happy to have this game. Actually, it's chewed up on both sides of the manual. So how about that? Chewed up on both sides. But this game is really good. This is a shmup. It has fantastic music. It has fantastic gameplay. I have completed this game. It's really fun. Yeah, I completed this game a little while ago after grabbing it. It's really cool. It's got boss battles in it. This is a game that did not work on my Retro Freak, actually. It will only work on original hardware. So that's something to keep in mind. With these Game Boy Advance games, there's like an X-Men game I have as well that doesn't work on the Retro Freak with sound. This game freezes on the Retro Freak, but it plays fine on real hardware. So I play it on my Game Boy, play it on the Game Boy Advance. But yeah, Iridium 2. And maybe I might print out a cover and put it on this down the line as well. Trying to get Top Gear in Crystal Chronicles, but it can get frustrating. Sometimes those games can get pretty grindy, Trevor, for sure. Sometimes they can. Definitely. Alright, next one we have. This is another weird one, actually. I got this from Once Cash Center. And this is Duca and the Morphic Menace. This is a cool RPG, action adventure RPG as well. It is very cool, but this is the PAL version. So this is actually a fairly expensive game to grab in the box, but there is a big problem with the PAL version. And I grabbed this because this was the version I could grab. I'm in the UK, I've got to grab the PAL version. Duca and the Morphic Menace. It's very colourful, very cool. This game looks awesome. But if you have the PAL version like I do, this game has a game-breaking bug that prevents you from completing it. So this game cannot be completed on the PAL version. They fixed that issue on the American release of this game. So if you have an American version, you can play it through with no problem. But the PAL version cannot be completed, unfortunately. You get to a certain point, an enemy is needed to spawn for you to beat a boss, and it doesn't spawn. That's my understanding. So the game can't be completed, but the American version can. The PAL version can't. And, you know, they couldn't exactly patch it. And I don't believe there are any ROM patches for like the Retro Freak either. So essentially I need to grab an American version of this game. What I thought I would do is I would grab this game and then I would just get an American version and play that on my Retro Freak. Because I have the game. I have the game, guys. I just don't have the one that works. But anyway, it's a very cool game. Yeah, that is the one benefit of modern games. Patches do exist, although to be fair, they should have never released in that without a game-breaking bug like that. They should have thoroughly tested it. I would say playing the game all the way through should be part of the testing process, because if you can't beat a boss to proceed in the game shouldn't have been released. But anyway, it is a good game. It is a good game. But that's on them. Alright. Sujuka and the Morphic Menace. Alright, next up we have King Kong. Now this game was on the PlayStation 2, I believe. Probably on the Xbox and GameCube as well. It also had a version on the DS. But the Game Boy Advance version is like a top-down adventure game. Hey Phil, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Appreciate you checking out. And I hope you're doing well, my friend. This is essentially a top-down adventure game. It's actually really fun. Pretty cool, even though often with movie licensed games, they're just there as almost a cash grab. And you get a lot of movie licensed games that are just released as a film is released. And just to get the word out there. But this game is really good, actually. King Kong on the Game Boy Advance. Pretty cool. Hope you're doing well, Phil. Appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Okay, next up, we have another boxed game on the Game Boy Advance. It is Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. I think this game is actually a little bit expensive. Not terribly expensive, but it's definitely up there. I have it complete in box. Very happy about that. Very happy to have it complete in box. Look at that little Kirby there. But yeah, great game. One of those games that you definitely want to have in the box. Like some of the Kirby games are so fantastic, and I was recommending this game series to anyone that hasn't played it before. But so happy to have this in the box. It's awesome, and it is complete. Some of my box games might be missing some things, but this has the manual and it has a cartridge in there. Although I think if the cartridges were in any sort of protectors, I took them out of the protectors and used them elsewhere because I'm not bothered about like. It's the same with NES games. If an NES game has a dust sleeve in the box, I will take the dust sleeve out and I will put the dust sleeve on another game. Don't hate me for that, but you know, I want to put those dust sleeves or cartridge protector boxes, cartridge protector shells, I should say, on games that are not in boxes. Alright. Next up, we have Konami Crazy Racers. You've only played the 64 and Dreamland free journey, but you enjoyed them both. Yeah, it's a great game series, for sure. Konami Crazy Racers is a kart racing game. It features a lot of Konami characters from different games that you may recognize as well. This is a really good kart racing game, and it plays like pretty much exactly like with like Mode 7 style backgrounds. It plays pretty much exactly like Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. This game is so good, guys. It's so good. Honestly, this game is overlooked. A bit of a hidden gem. Konami Crazy Racers. If you like Super Mario Kart, this game is really, really good. And it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun. Definitely worth checking out. Hayachi in this game, Jonan, I don't remember. But it does have a lot of characters from different games in it. And it is really cool. But I definitely recommend checking it out. For sure. For sure. And yeah, definitely worth fight to grab that game. I'm trying to make some sort of Hayachi reference. You know, Hayachi is in some fighting games though. Outside of Tekken series, he's in the PlayStation version of like Soul Calibur, I think, unless I've got that wrong. Alright, we have another boxed game. I'm gonna have to like lean over the side to grab it because my games are like stacked up in random places. No better endorsement than MVL one. Exactly, Trevor. Exactly. It's really good. It really is. We have Lady Seer. This is an awesome platformer exclusive to the Game Boy Advance. And typically it has nothing on any of the sides whatsoever with the name on it. So how do you display this on your shelf? Honestly, guys, I still don't know how you display these games. It's got nothing written on it. This is an awesome game. Absolutely awesome. In this game, Lady Seer takes it upon herself to not wait for a hero to save their kingdom. She goes out and saves the kingdom herself. I think I sat on this box, by the way, so it has a little bit of damage. I accidentally sat on it. Yeah, I know, right? I sat on it. It got a little bit crushed, but this game is amazing. This is definitely a hidden gem. I think it's a game that got overlooked. It's exclusive to the Game Boy Color, and it's really, really good. So Lady Seer, another one I think is definitely worth checking out. I do enjoy this game quite a lot. It's very colourful and really fun to play. Alright. I'm going to change where I stack the games. So I've got games stacked all around me now as I take them out. I'm not looking forward to putting them back in the right order. Next up, we have Lara Croft Tomb Raider The Prophecy. This game is exclusive to the Game Boy Advance. This is not a downgraded version of any of the console games. This one has, at least it has the name on all the sides, except it doesn't have it on the top. Tomb Raider game, but with a top-down style. So very cool. It's awesome to have this. and I'm happy to have it in the box as well. I don't recall where I grabbed it from, but it is a very cool game to have an exclusive one on the Game Boy Color. So there you go. Lara Croft's Tomb Raider: The Prophecy on the Game Boy Advance. Alright, what are we up next? Next up we have Mario and Donkey Kong. Just Mario and Donkey Kong. So this one plays. You never knew that existed. It's a cool one. It's a cool one, Jonan, for sure. Sometimes on the 3D games, the platforming can be a bit awkward. So actually, it being top down and or side scrolling makes it a little easier to move around. Mario vs Donkey Kong. If my memory serves me right, this plays a little bit like the Donkey Kong game, or a little bit like the Minis games. Pretty cool. And this is like essentially a sequel, if I'm remembering correctly. This is essentially like a sequel to Donkey Kong, that is not Donkey Kong 2, if that makes any sense. So it's essentially a Donkey Kong style game. I think it's got platforming parts in it as well, but I don't remember very well. There's so many games to remember. There you go, Mario vs Donkey Kong. Next up we have one from the boxed games. We have Mario Golf Advanced Tour. This is role-playing golf, would you believe? Now, like I mentioned earlier in the stream, the Game Boy Advance games for the Mario Golf games were typically RPGs, and they had top-down sections, whereas the 3D games on the home consoles at the time were more multiplayer focused. But yeah, this is very cool. Plus, you can link this up with the connector to do stuff with the home console game as well. There's nothing on the side, no name on that side, but there is on the other side. There you go. Oh, that one's the other way up for some reason. There you go. You play as your own characters in this as well, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. So there you go. Mario Golf Advance Tour. On the Game Boy Advance. Alright, what have we got here? Next up we have Metal Slug Advance. Metal! Very much as the other Metal Slug games. Metal Slug games, by the way, guys, fantastic. Do love the run and gun style gameplay of Metal Slug. And very cool to grab this on the Game Boy Advance. It's a good version. Look at this side. Absolutely nothing on it. Absolutely nothing written on that side. Why? I don't know. By the way, I didn't mention about the seal flaps on the bottom. Let alone my my box protectors here having two different types of seal. Some of my box protectors have two flaps. Some of them have a fasten strap like this. The seals on the bottom of the games are like completely different from from box to box. Enjoy the Metal Slug games, Trevor. They're really good for sure. There's a look at that. And yeah, it plays really, really great on the Game Boy Advance. This is also in like so many SNK collections. It says here that it has Metal Slug e-reader cards to collect. I don't have any of those, but if you have them, you get some bonus features on this as well. You'd also have to have the e-reader attachment. I think games like Donkey Kong use the e-readers as well for bonus levels, but I did not know they were on Metal Slug until just reading that now. It's kind of cool. For extra characters. Alright, let me move these boxes a little closer to myself because I'm moving past to grab them. So I'm going to move up all these Game Boy boxes. You just get to see me like reposition some boxes. Do my own little Tetris here. As I move these boxes up so I can grab them. Okay. Alright. Next up we have Midway's Greatest Arcade Hits. This is one I grabbed, I don't know why I'm holding up to the camera. I already discussed earlier in this video that my camera doesn't want to cooperate with me. Midway's Arcade Hits. This has Defender. I believe it has Joust on it as well as other games. I ripped the label. This one had a price sticker on it and I ripped the label trying to take it off. So, unfortunate. Hey, no worries, Jonan. Appreciate it dropping by, my friend, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for checking out the stream, and I will see you next time, buddy. See you later, Jonan. This label on this is also very dirty, and also the cartridge is ripped on the front. The label is ripped from taking off a sticker. Don't put stickers on labels. I don't know who would do that. I know who did it because I digressed. Let's move on from that. But yes, I ripped the label here, taking the price sticker off, which was a little annoying. But yeah, I grabbed this recently. Midway's Greatest Arcade Hits. There's a port of this on other systems as well. The Game Boy Advance one is actually a little watered down, but still cool to have it play on the go. All right. Next up we have Metroid Zero Mission. Now I picked this up for like £6. Can you believe that this game is now going for about £100? I mean it will probably go back down in price, but it's crazy. This game is extremely sought after and it's quite expensive right now, even for the loose cartridge. It's like £100 for loose cartridge at the time of this video. But yeah, Metroid Zero Mission, remake of Metroid. I'm really glad to have it because with the current price of this game, it's insane. But there you go, Metroid Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance. I love my Metroid games. I know Trevor loves them as well. And a lot of people love these game series. I can't believe this game's price has been so elevated by resellers. But yeah, there you go. This game is really sought after right now with Metroid Dread about to come out on the Switch. Next up we have the Pac-Man Collection on the Game Boy Advance. This includes Pac-Man, Pac-Attack, Pac-Mania, and Pac-Man Arrangement. And Pac-Man is another game series that I really enjoy. Other way up, of course it is. Nothing on that side. That side does have the title on. Pac-Man is another game series I really enjoy, and it's perfect for handheld enjoyment. So I'm really glad to have this in the box. This came from a bunch of Pac-Man stuff that, I mentioned I have the Mario Game & Watch. I neglected to bring it out to show in this video. I'm hoping to get the Zelda Game & Watch too. But I neglected to, I think I've mentioned before that I found a load of Pac-Man stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Included this game and another Pac-Man game and some other boxed Game Boy games and Game Boy consoles, DS consoles, and it also had a Pac-Man like Game & Watch style thing, like an LCD handheld. A reseller got that off me as well, so I made a deal to come and collect that. Before I collected it, another reseller had, I guess they'd said they would pay more. I don't know what the deal is, but someone collected it before I got there, which was really awkward. So yeah, like a reseller, and it's someone I actually know. But they got it before I got there, and I actually found the exact games at that reseller. And that was kind of funny, a little bit awkward. I ended up picking up the Pac-Man games, but I didn't end up getting that because they changed the prices because they're reselling it. I didn't end up getting the Pac-Man LCD handheld, but it's a shame. But anyway, Pac-Man collection, great Pac-Man games. That's a little story in there as well. Pac-Man World is next. This game was also on console at the time. This is a good version though, pretty cool. Pretty cool. There's that. And there's the back of that one as well. I love Pac-Man games. This is very fun. Although I am more of a fan of like the original Ms. Pac-Man. I think they mixed up the gameplay a little too much when it was fine as it was. Alright. I obviously put this one out of order by accident. I said I would jumble these up at some point, and I have already jumbled them up. But here we have Ms. Pac-Man Maze Madness alphabetically in the wrong place. But Ms. Pac-Man is one of those instances where it's like, Ms. Pac-Man is better than Pac-Man. It's an instance where a sequel is better than the original thing. Like many people feel about Aliens and Alien. Often the case is, film-wise that is, often the case is when you get to sequels, they don't live up to the expectations of the original. In this case, Ms. Pac-Man is good. But anyway, Maze Madness is like a 3D style game. Hey, you're awesome, Trevor. I appreciate it, buddy. I appreciate it. Thanks for checking out the stream as well, my friends. As I ramble on randomly, here's the sides of this one. The Game Boy Advance is this way up for whatever reason. And there's the side of that as well. Ms. Pac-Man Maze Madness is pretty good. I prefer the original game from like the Atari 2600 or the arcade, if you will, for Ms. Pac-Man, but this is still a pretty good version. I'm glad to have it in the box as well. So I picked up those 3 Pac-Man games from that reseller that got that Pac-Man collection from underneath me as I was going to collect it. But yeah, there you go. All right. Next up, we have Phalanx on the Game Boy Advance. Same as the Super Nintendo game, of course. Made its way to the Game Boy Advance. The Super Nintendo game has some really interesting cover art on the American release, the Western release. This is a really good game. It's a shmup, and it's very fun, and I enjoy having this game in my collection, so I'm very happy about that. And yeah, very cool, and this is definitely one of those games I wanted to have. And I do play this game, actually. If I go out and about and I take the Game Boy Advance with me, I have, because the Game Boy Advance is so small, I can take it with me. And this is one of the games I take with me, Phalanx. It's really good. Hey, how you doing, Victory Leo? Welcome, my friend. There's a McCready from the Thing toy coming out. That sounds awesome, Victory Leo. Man, you know, the Thing toys would actually be really scary. That would be kind of cool. But how are you doing, Victory Leo, by the way, my friend? Appreciate you dropping by. Alright. Next up we have Pitfall, the Mayan Adventure. I picked this up for £1. The cartridge is a little beat up. It's a side-scrolling game, I believe. I just got this one very recently. This will probably be in that video I mentioned earlier, the Game Hunting video. They'll come down the line for the point of me recording this. And very cool. There's a lot of Pitfall games on the GBA, actually. They had 2 copies of this, actually, at the place. They had one for £1 and one for £3. So I grabbed the £1 one, which is a little beat up. But there you go, Pitfall. Not as good as the original games on the Atari 2600, though. Alright. We have Pokemon. This is Pokemon Leaf Green version. It is a different colour shell, but the Pokemon games did that a lot. Transparent green, actually. You kind of see the cartridge through the back. The Leaf Green version. These games are actually relatively sought after. Maze Madness is pretty fun seeing retro gaming. Maze Madness is really good, actually. That is, there's a bunch of like cool games out there for sure. Yeah. Pokemon Leaf Green. I have Leaf Green, but only the cartridge. But I have Fire Red in the box. This is my original Fire Red. The complete in-box Pokemon games go for ridiculous amounts these days, guys. So I would really go for loose cartridges. Unfortunately, my red and blue cartridges, I didn't take care of the boxes, and they got destroyed from water damage. But these ones I did, the Game Boy Advanced ones. So this is a remake of Pokemon Red, Fire Red. You're good, Victory Leo? That's good to hear, my friend. I'm doing good. I actually really like this box because this includes the Game Boy Advance wireless adapter, and it is in there as well. This is my original one. The box is like kind of shiny, which I like as well. So there's that. And yeah, complete in box. These are pretty valuable these days. But yeah, there's that. And as well as having this, I also have the Sapphire version as well, complete in box. Again, my original copy. The current prices of these games are crazy, so they're tough to get in the box these days. I wish I had kept my red and blue boxes in good condition, but I didn't. But these ones I did. So there's that as well. Sapphire version. And yeah, very cool to have this. Similar to red and blue, different Pokemon on different versions of the game here. There's a Sapphire version. Very glad to have this now because they are getting expensive. Alright, that's the Pokemons. We also have one last Pokemon, and that is Pokemon Ruby version. I did have this when it came out. I really wish I had kept the box, but I didn't. The box got destroyed. It's unfortunate. But yeah, I still have the game. Which is interesting because this is a ESRB rated American one. So I definitely had this back in the day. So I'm not sure. I must have picked this up like in a market or something, or maybe a place I got it in. Actually, that's probably what it is. I probably picked this up in a place called Cassie's in Yuki, which no longer exists. And I think they used to import games to get them before the PAL release date because games would come out overseas before they came out in the UK region. So I think that's why this is an American copy. But that's pretty cool. And actually, it's kind of see-through as well, which is pretty sweet. Kind of see-through. I like that. I like that. All right. Next up, we have Ready to Rumble Boxing Round 2. Your Pokemon Silver and Original and Pokemon Fire Red. Hey, it's awesome, Leo. Like, it's with the boxes that's getting so hard. I wish I had those boxes, man. Look at this, by the way. On the side, it says Midway. On the other side, nothing. On the top, nothing. Guys, how do you organize your boxed Game Boy games? Because I have no clue. Like, how are you supposed to know that's Ready to Rumble Boxing? How are you supposed to know? It's got nothing. I know I've complained about this a lot, but it's got nothing written on it. On either side. What were they thinking? Honestly, what were they thinking? What were they thinking? Why can't they write it on the sides? Because how are you supposed to put this on your shelf and know that it's the game that it is when you've got a bunch of games on there? It's ridiculous. Why is there nothing on the side? I can't complain about it enough, guys. Why is there nothing on any of the sides? What were they thinking? Anyway, Ready to Rumble Round 2. I didn't buy this. Somebody gave this to me with another game that I had ordered. They said that this was just shelf filler for themselves, so they gave this to me. Actually, their exact words were, "I'm not gonna lie, it's not good." But there you go. They gave it to me for free. I can't remember what I ordered. It was from another game. I got this with another game or item. I think it might have been that boxed Bomberman I showed earlier. I think I bought that boxed Bomberman game, and they included this with it as a freebie. So there you go. There's actually a sticker damage on it as well. You can't quite see it, but there's sticker residue on the front. But yeah, I got given that for free. That's why I have that. Your Silver needs a new battery because it doesn't save. Yeah, unfortunately, those battery saves only have a limited time, and when you change the battery, you lose your save as well. That's a case of a lot of Mega Drive games with the battery saves as well, the RPGs and stuff like that, and the Game Boy games. Yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks because you can't change the battery without losing the save. But it does happen to all of them. Next up, another game I picked up recently is R-Type 3. Very cool to grab this. I grabbed this from Faceless Monkey True. Hey Perry, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the stream. R-Type 3, I picked this up fairly recently. Third R-Type game. If I'm not mistaken, this is like an exclusive Game Boy Advance game, but I think I might be wrong, because there's a lot of R-Type games and the numberings and the titles, so I could be wrong there. But there's a lot of compilations of R-Types as well. A lot of compilations of shmup games, I should say, recently, so this might be on them as well. But yeah, very cool to grab this. I can't remember how much this game is worth, but I think I got it at a really good deal, like £6 or £8. But there you go, R-Type 3, it's a shmup, it's a really good one as well. I do love my shmups. You have so much trouble with the R-Type games, Trevor. They're hard, but they're hard in a rewarding way. It's like when you're playing Ghosts and Goblins, and that type of NES hard game, or Sega, old style retro game, where the difficulty is challenging, but it's not unfair. So it's like, you want to go back and you want to play it and you want to do better. And I like that in games, for sure. Alright. We have Serious Sam Advance here, loose cartridge. This is an FPS, first person shooter. And honestly guys, this is a pixelated mess. The Game Boy Advance, the resolution on the screen was too small for first person games. So when you play a game like Serious Sam on the Game Boy Advance, it is tough. It is tough. Cool that it came out though. But it's a first person game. It's like the other Serious Sam games on the consoles. But yeah, with the small screen size, the first person games got a little tough with that 3D style perspective. Other than that, great. All the games have replay value, Trevor, for sure they did. Definitely want to come back to them and beat them. Alright. Next up we have Shining Force Resurrection of Dark Dragon. Speaking of Sega RPGs, this is a remake or reimagining, if you will, of the original Shining Force game from the Mega Drive. And that side says nothing, that side has the name on it, and then that side has the title on it as well. But this is essentially a reimagining of that game. And there's a look at the back as well. Awesome game, by the way. I love Shining Force, and it was so good to have this game and I have it in the box. And I'm really glad to have this. Oh, and by the way, I've neglected to mention that on the back here, there's those signs there telling you that what it does work on, in case you had multiple systems. So this game only works on the Game Boy Advance. It will not work on the Game Boy or Game Boy Color, because it is a Game Boy Advance cartridge. But yeah, there you go. Just a couple of looks on the back there. Awesome game, Shining Soul, and it's great to have it in the box as well. Resurrection of Dark Dragon there as well. So really cool. Whilst we're doing that, we also have Shining Soul, which is yet again another remake slash reimagining of Shining Force. A completely different remake and reimagining of the Shining Force series. This one, by the way, nothing written on either side or the top. So it's one of those ones you put on your shelf and you think, what the heck is that game? You got no clue. No clue what this game is from looking at the sides, because it has nothing on either side. But yeah, this is another remake slash reimagining, if you will, of the Shining Force games. Very happy to have this. I think I got this and the other Shining Force boxed game. I think I got them from Big E's Games and DVDs. In a previous game hunting video, you might have seen when he was in his location in St. Austell and he had a back room, he just let me wander in his back room and have a look at stuff. Before I started doing those game hunting videos, I walked into his shop one day and he had a big box of Game Boy Advanced complete in box games, and he just let me pick through it and say what I wanted and give me a good deal on them. He had so much stuff. He had Golden Sun at that time that I wanted to grab as well. But he had those two games done. Essentially, I prioritized the Shining Force games, but he has so much good stuff. I think he had Ogre Battle as well, actually, which would have been really good. So loose Pokemon Silver for $79.99. Yeah, those Pokemon games are expensive, Victory Leo, for sure. They are getting up there because they're very collectible and very sought after. And a lot of casual gamers want the Pokemon games because of the animated series, and they might have played Pokemon in the past. So it raises the price for everyone because when the resellers know that a game is sought after, then they're gonna buy up the copies, and then for ourselves as collectors, we kind of sit on the games, if you will, and then just the price. Even though there's a lot of copies of it, like Pokemon games are very common, they end up becoming expensive because of what I just mentioned. But yeah, they are pretty expensive and quite sought after. This is a recent pickup as well. This will be on that game hunting video I mentioned, of a recent game hunting I did. I picked up Shining Soul 2, the sequel to a reimagining of the Shining Force series. So we're getting down the rabbit hole of remakes and reimaginings here. It's like a modern movie series, if you will. Very cool to grab this RPG. Cartridge only, but I think this was only £10, so I was happy with that. Pretty good deal. Alright. Next up, we have a new official reproduction of a retro game. And I did a video of this as well. And this is Shantae, the Game Boy reproduction, official reproduction, licensed by Limited Run. Way Forward brought you this, of course. And my only complaint with this is they made one change. And that's in when you boot the game up, instead of showing the Capcom logo, it shows a Limited Run Games logo instead. But other than that, entirely faithful to the original. This works and plays on original Game Boy Color, and on Game Boy Advance it has the enhancements as well. Because this was a game that was enhanced for the Game Boy Advance. Not many games were, but this was enhanced for the Game Boy Advance with a little bit of a better color palette and an extra dance as well. The dance you could actually, through cheats, through a cheat, I believe, like if you had a Game Genie, you could access that dance regularly anyway. But there you go, Shantae. You guys probably are very familiar with the platforming game Shantae. It's on loads of different systems. This is the original game, and the original version of Shantae, complete in box, on the original Game Boy, it's astronomically expensive. So I was very happy to have this. You've been looking for Shantae, Leo, for sure. I was very happy to be able to grab the limited run version because I will never get my hands on the original. I will never get my hands on the original, but this is official, this is licensed, this is legit, so I'm happy to have that. It's very cool. So they did this, a limited production of this, and yeah, I'm very happy to have that. And yeah, it's very cool, very cool. The original game, of course, came at the end of the Game Boy Color lifespan, towards the start of the Game Boy Advanced, and it came out for the Game Boy Color. That it has become known as well, it was a hidden gem at the time, but now it's very well known and it's very sought after. And essentially kind of limited print quantities of it, even though it's quite common to find. So yeah, very sought after. It's well known. And by the way, guys, I have the big box collector's edition for this as well. So there you go. Big box collector's edition. Happy about that. This includes a soundtrack CD, among other extras as well. So I'm very happy about that. Very happy about that. You know, recently found out about Shantae, Leo. Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. They've got games on other systems as well. The first game is a lot harder and a lot less forgiving than the later games. The later games, they made them a little easier for new players. But yeah, it's a game worth checking out, at least playing, but not paying the price that the original version goes for. That is an insane price, but the game is very good. It's very good. Oh, and by the way, guys, I was originally missing the collectible card that comes with this, but Limited Run Games sent that out for me. And I didn't expect them to, because this was essentially a freebie. Limited Run Games do these little cards with their games, but that was very cool of them. I asked if they could send a card that was missing for my order, because they include those cards in your games that you purchase from Limited Run Games. They are a freebie, they are an extra, and they are not stated as being included. But I did ask if they could send me that on my next order, and they just straight up sent it out, even overseas, to me. Which was very cool. So thank you, Limited Run Games, for including that, because I didn't expect them to. I even said on my email, like, it's a freebie, I don't expect you to send it out, but it was missing, and I was happy that they included that. So there you go. Good one, Limited Run Games. Alright, next up we have another Way Forward game, Sigma Star Saga for the Game Boy Advance, complete in the box. This game is not in great condition, but the box protector here holds it together. This is a hybrid of game styles. It has like a top-down RPG elements to it, but it also has shmup sections, scrolling shooter sections as well. This game is also really good. It's hard in sections, but it's really good and really rewarding. And yeah, this game is really cool. I'm glad to have this in the box. At this time, I don't remember, because I said my memory's terrible. I don't remember where I got it, but I'm very glad that I do have it. Sigma Star Saga, Game Boy Advance. Alright, next up we have Spider-Man, Mysterio's Menace. And very cool Spider-Man game. There are a lot of Spider-Man games all over the place, from the Atari 2600 to all the way up to the modern systems like the PlayStation. And this is a Game Boy Advance game. Grabbed it loose cartridge. I don't remember if I found this on a car boot sale or if I found this in like a market in like Truro. But very happy to have that anyway. Spider-Man, Mysterio's Menace. I'm running out of places to put these. Alright. Next up, we have Spyro Season of Ice. Spyro Season of Ice was a game uniquely developed for the Game Boy Advance, or exclusively developed for the Game Boy Advance, I should say. And there's a sequel to this as well. So these aren't dubbed down PlayStation games. This was made specifically for the Game Boy Advance, which is very cool. Yard sale hunting, for sure. That's always a good thing to do, Victory Leo. Over where I'm at, out in the wild, it's very hard to find anything at this time. I've not been having the best of luck. Like car boot sales, as we call them over here, which you might know as flea markets, are virtually non-existent in my area. As well as things like that. But definitely they are worth checking out. I've been to a couple recently with with no results, but I did do a car boot pickups video like ages back where I got some good big box PC games. So there's always hope. But at the moment, mostly I'm going to like local gaming stores that sell retro games, of course. Have been my place to go. But yeah, there you go. Spyro's Season of Ice for Game Boy Advance. Pretty cool. All right. Next up, we have this game is really awesome. Star X. So this is basically like Star Fox on the Super Nintendo with the polygon style graphics. If you've played Star Fox on the Super Nintendo, you will actually really like Star X. Star X plays exactly like that. It is that same style of like on rails style 3D with polygon graphics shooter. Really good game. And yeah, I can't remember where I found out about this. This is actually an American cartridge, but you know, the region free, so it plays fine. Yeah, really cool game. Star X. I do recommend this game a lot for anyone that hasn't heard of it as well. Star X is a fantastic Star Fox clone. It's kind of like how Konami's Crazy Racing is a Mario Kart clone. This is a Star Fox clone or Star Wing clone, however you want to say it. Yeah, check it out, Star X. Alright, I'm going to try and put these in some sort of order as I put them away. Okay, we have another boxed game. Another one I'm really happy to have boxed is an RPG. And it is Tales of Fantasia in the box. And I think I got this from CEX actually, which I normally prefer to go to the local places, but sometimes CEX does have good deals as well, which is a chain brand. But it was also kind of good to grab this in the box. Antique stores can be pretty good sometimes as well, Leo, for sure. And antique shops, you never know what you're gonna find in like charity shops and antique shops. Or I think you call charity shops overseas. I think you call them thrift stores. But yeah, definitely places like that and antique shops. You never know until you check them out for sure. But yeah, Tales of Fantasia, an RPG, Super Nintendo style. And there's a load of Tales games, so many Tales games, and I said that RPGs require time commitment. But this game is really good, and I am really happy to have it. Complete in box as well, great find. CX tend to go eBay low prices, and for RPGs I don't mind paying that, because this one's really good. It wasn't that bad. When I give out, it wasn't that bad a price. Anyway, next up we have The Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, and Four Swords as well. Awesome, 2 games in 1 cartridge. You get an absolute classic like Link to the Past. One of the best games of all time, Link to the Past. It's a great game, for sure it is, Trevor. Link to the Past, they've made a few alterations of this version, but mostly to update it for the Game Boy Advance. You also get Four Swords in here, which is cool to have as well. It's its own game. Mostly has its own gimmick to it with the 4 players. But just for Link to the Past, I remember picking this up. This is my original cartridge. This did get water damage, but I saved it from the water damage. You'll be happy to know. So it did get water damage back in the day, but I saved it. Yeah, so pretty cool to have this as well. In the box, it's not in perfect condition, of course, but this is my original copy of this on the Game Boy Advance anyway. And I actually remember picking this up in like a bargain bin back in the day. This game was going on sale, and I picked this up really cheap. And I was like, oh yeah, I definitely need that in my life, and I do. So there you go, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on the Game Boy Advance. One of the best games of all time, guys. I mean, there's no arguing that. There's just no arguing. It's one of the best games of all time. Top-down action adventure game. And when Zelda moved into 3D, it changed how it plays, of course. But for the top-down perspective, this is the best. And really, for the Super Nintendo game, they just took everything they'd done on the original Zelda game and they made it better. And man, I'm glad we didn't keep going side-scrolling. Zelda 2 is great in its own way, but this is definitely where my preference lies, and that's my preference, of course, but Link to the Past is definitely there. You'll be able to travel and grab some different stuff. Yeah, to be sure, Victory Leo, I do want to travel, and grab games from different locations as well. And I think I could do some interesting game hunting videos if I did a bit of traveling. Right, next up we have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. Now, honestly, this is just a downgraded version of a console game on the GBA, but it is impressive to see it work on the Game Boy Advance. With that said, this wouldn't be my game of choice for Tony Hawk. I would go for one of the console versions. And Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 actually recently got a remaster on the modern console, so there you go. Okay. Next up we have Ultimate Spider-Man. Another game that was on consoles, and this is a handheld version. So pretty cool. You can fight enemies, climb buildings, and do some beat 'em up action as well. Does Wind Waker rank in my top 5? Zelda games, definitely, Trevor. Top 10 games of all time? Possibly. I would say definitely that if we're talking like top 5, Link to the Past is definitely up there. Ocarina of Time is definitely up there. But then if we're talking like top 10 of all time, Link to the Past is definitely up there. Ocarina of Time. Wind Waker is very good though. Wind Waker is very good. Alright. Next up we have, now I'm going to show this just to explain a couple of things about this, but I did an entire video about this that you can check out on my channel. This is Van Helsing. This is a bootleg. This is a, call it what you will, but this is not an original cartridge. Now, I've done an entire video about this on my channel because it's so ridiculous. This is an obvious, like, this is not a real cartridge. And I've done a video about this before, so check that out. But yeah, the clips on the back aren't even the same game. You can see it better in that video, to be fair, but there's clips of Metal Slug on the back here. This is Metal Slug. And then the manual, that you couldn't even make it up. So there's the cartridge, by the way. That shouldn't surprise anyone that that's not an official Game Boy cartridge. There's no forget about the two-digit stamp it should have. It's got no rating. It's got no codes or anything on it. It's just ridiculous. But the worst thing about this is the manual. The manual is, I mean, it's actually the worst and the best thing. But yeah, I've done an entire video about this that you can check out. But yeah, check this out. What do you reckon this manual has in it if you haven't seen that video? This manual includes such wonders as how to play Sonic the Hedgehog. I could not make it up, guys. That's the manual for Van Helsing for this game. Could not make it up. It's a Sonic manual. What were they thinking? Who knows? It's hilarious, but I had to show this again. If this was like a regular like trying to be a reproduction bootleg, then I would not have held on to this. But because this is so ridiculous, with the manual having different game in it and the back of the box having different game clips on it, I have to keep this. It's so funny. There you go, Van Helsing. Say what you will about the movie or the game, but a hilarious bootleg. Absolutely hilarious and terrible bootleg. And by the way, the cartridge plays fine. Unfortunately, the cartridge is not either of the games on the back, which I would have liked to have seen, but it's the actual Game Boy Advance game. But anyway, I just want to show that. You can check out, I did a video, I think it's called The Worst Fake Game I've Ever Seen, or something along those lines. You can check out, I show that in more detail on that video. I also show some more fake games and give you a little info about how to spot fake games on that as well. Alright. Next up we have Wario Land 4. So I'm missing some games in the Wario Land series, obviously, but it's great to have this on the Game Boy Advance. The Wario Land games continue on from the Mario games on the handhelds, and they're very fun, very fun. If you like the Mario games, you'll probably like these, and it's nice. Sometimes it's good to be the bad guy, as Scott Hall would say, I believe, from wrestling. But yeah, go Wario Land 4, fun game as well in its own right. All right. Next up, we have X-Men: Reign of Apocalypse. This game on my Retro Freak plays without sound, but this is a side-scrolling beat 'em up. This one's nice enough to have the name on all of the sides. How about that? There's a look at that. But of course, on the real hardware, this plays absolutely fine. And then we're basically done, guys. We have one game left, and rather underwhelmingly, we fall flat at the end with a Yu-Gi-Oh game. You know what? I really enjoy card games. I don't mind playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't mind playing Magic the Gathering, or Deck Masters, or Duel Masters rather, or what have you. This is Day of the Duelist. I had this complete in box, but the box is ruined, unfortunately. I think I bought this at the time because it came with some trading cards, and I wanted those trading cards more than I wanted the game. That was a good tactic. The games had trading cards with them as promos, like exclusive. So that made you buy the game. But there you go. This game is actually fun. So's the Magic the Gathering games. In isolation, you can just play the cards that are in the game and play them against each other. But yeah, this is pretty fun. Had the box for this. The box got damaged by water damage. But also, actually, this is in a Mad Catz shell, unlike the official ones I have. So that's kind of interesting as well, because it fits in there upside down. But there you go, guys. Alright, the stream's been awesome. You loved it. Thank you, Trevor. Appreciate it, my friends. And thank you guys for checking out the stream. This was my entire Game Boy collection. We had loose cartridges. We had complete in-box games. We had hardware. We had accessories. We had all of that stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I hope you liked it. Hey, Mystic. Appreciate you checking it out, my friend. Thanks for checking out the stream. Thanks to everyone for checking out the stream as well. I had a lot of fun doing this. I will have to put all of this stuff back. I'm not going to make you guys watch me put everything back on the shelves, so have no fear. That'll just be a sad MVL slowly putting stuff back on the shelf after the stream. But guys, I've had a great time. I've enjoyed hanging out with you. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for checking out the stream. And as always, guys, thanks for being a part of my life in the world of YouTube. So thank you guys so much. Yeah, we checked out Game Boy. We checked out original Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance, and everything in between, including some bootlegs and things like that. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you saw some games you might not have seen before. Hey, maybe tell me which games I need to pick up. Maybe shout at me in the comments. Why don't you have this game, MVL? You need to have this game. And I will be like, okay, I will get that game if I can find it. Thank you. There you go, guys. Thank you for checking out the stream. If you like the video, be sure to leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already for more awesome content. I'm always doing stuff like game hunting videos, like I mentioned, video game pickups that are fully edited videos on the channel that you can check out. They have been edited. They include either gameplay footage or footage of me going around shops looking for stuff. Check out my edited videos for sure. They're a lot more cut together and a lot less panicky than my live streams where the webcam doesn't want to do what I want and things like that. Yeah. Also, guys, don't forget to check out my Dungeons and Dragons and all of that sort of stuff as well. If you like that sort of stuff, definitely check that out. Thank you guys for watching. If you'd like to check out my social medias as well, there's links to social media somewhere around there. You can be kept up to date whenever I go live or make a new video. Maybe a little bit more reliable than YouTube itself, you never know. But don't forget to click the bell as well. That's supposed to do something. It's a little bell down there you can click. Somewhere where I'm pointing along all the screen, there's a bell. And if you set it to everything, then maybe you'll get notified. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Yep, don't forget to like it, don't forget to subscribe. And also, if you'd like to, you can also support me through Patreon or YouTube channel membership. I have exclusive videos for YouTube channel members and Patreon supporters. If you're a channel member on YouTube, you can access them. There's a membership tab, actually. You can access them from there, or the community tab. There will be exclusive posts there that you can see if you're a member. And not only can you use my face as emoticons in the live chat, and you get a coffee cup next to your name, but you will also have access to exclusive videos. I do a lot of like breaking the seals, like opening up games that I've just got on there and stuff like that, so you can check that out. Just as a thank you from me to you. And of course on Patreon, they'll be on the Patreon page unlocked for you as well. And yeah, so you can support me through Patreon or YouTube channel membership if you'd like to. Other than that, my friends, thank you for watching. You guys have been amazing. And I have been MVL, and until next time we meet for some other video of some kind. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but we'll find out next time. Don't forget to keep an eye out for content on the channel. I have been MVL, and I will catch you next time. Yeah. Alright, catch you later, everybody.